When security guard Jamal Williams saw a suspicious man in a hoodie trying to sneak into Lincoln Community Center, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He tried to kick him out. What Jamal didn't know was that this suspicious stranger was actually Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time. But here's the part that will absolutely shock you. Jordan wasn't there for fame or publicity. He was there because of a 12-year-old girl named Destiny, who practiced basketball alone every morning at 6 a.m., carrying a secret so heartbreaking that when Jordan discovered it, he did something that changed everything. But why would Michael Jordan risk his privacy to help a struggling family he'd never met? And what was the one shocking surprise at the end that nobody, not even Destiny's own father, saw coming? Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to hit that like button and comment below to let me know where you're watching from around the world. The hospital waiting room smelled like cleaning spray and sadness. Destiny Martinez sat in the hard plastic chair, holding her basketball tight against her chest. The ball was old and worn, with scratches from years of practice on rough concrete. But it was hers. Carlos Martinez called the nurse in white scrubs. Destiny's mom, Rosa, jumped up from her chair. Her hands shook as she smoothed down Carlos's messy black hair. At 8 years old, Carlos looked so small in the big hospital chair. His brown eyes were scared, but trying to be brave. "It's okay, Micho," Rosa whispered in Spanish. "The doctors will help you." Destiny watched her little brother walk toward the doors marked surgery. His heart was sick. The doctors said he needed an operation to fix it. But operations cost money. Lots of money. More money than their family had. Carlos turned back and waved at Destiny. She waved back, squeezing her basketball even tighter. The doors closed with a loud click. Rosa sat back down and put her head in her hands. Destiny could see her mom's shoulders shake as she cried quietly. "Mom?" Destiny said softly, "I'm okay, baby, I'm okay." But Rosa's voice cracked when she said it. Destiny knew her mom wasn't okay. Nobody in their family had been okay for a long time. Not since Dad left 6 months ago. Not since Carlos got sick. Not since the bills started piling up on the kitchen table like a tower of worry. The basketball in Destiny's hands felt warm. She looked down at the faded orange leather. This ball was the only thing that still made sense. When everything else was falling apart, she could still make shots. She could still dribble. She could still feel strong. That morning felt like 1,000,000 years ago now. But it had started just like every other day for the past 3 years. Earlier that morning, the alarm on Destiny's phone buzzed in the dark. She rolled out of bed without making a sound. Carlos was still sleeping in the bed next to hers. His breathing sounded funny, like it was hard work just to breathe. Destiny grabbed her basketball and her worn-out sneakers. She tiptoed past her mom's room. Rosa worked 3 jobs now, cleaning offices at night, serving lunch at the school cafeteria, and watching Mrs. Garcia's baby on weekends. She needed every minute of sleep she could get. The morning air was cold against Destiny's face as she walked the 4 blocks to Lincoln Community Center. The street lights were still on, making long shadows on the sidewalk. A few cars drove by, but mostly the world was quiet. Lincoln Community Center was old and gray, like most buildings in their neighborhood. The paint peeled off the walls in long strips. The windows had bars on them. But inside that building was Destiny's favorite place in the whole world. The outdoor basketball court. Mrs. Chen's car was already in the parking lot. She always got to work early. Mrs. Chen was the director of the community center. And she never asked Destiny why a 12-year-old girl was shooting baskets at 6 in the morning. She just unlocked the gate and let her play. "Morning, Destiny," Mrs. Chen called out as she walked toward the building. "Morning, Mrs. Chen," Destiny replied. The court was cracked in places. Weeds grew through the broken concrete. The rim was bent a little to the left from too many kids hanging on it. But when Destiny stepped onto that court, it felt perfect. She started with free throws, 10 in a row, then 20. Her form was smooth and natural, even though no coach had ever taught her. She learned everything from watching videos on her phone and practicing for hours every day. Swish, swish. Each shot felt like a small victory. Each made basket was proof that she could do something right, even when everything else was wrong. "You're here early again." Destiny turned around. Mrs. Chen stood by the fence, watching her practice. "I like the quiet," Destiny said. It was true, but it wasn't the whole truth. She came early because it was the only time the court was empty. The only time nobody could see her cry while she shot. "How's Carlos doing?" Mrs. Chen asked gently. Destiny's next shot hit the rim and bounced off. "The doctors say he needs surgery today." Mrs. Chen walked closer to the fence. Her face looked worried. "Will you be able to go to school today? I have to go to the hospital with Mom." Destiny picked up her ball and lined up another free throw. "The surgery takes a long time. I'll be thinking about your family today," Mrs. Chen said. "Carlos is a fighter, just like his big sister." Destiny nodded but didn't trust herself to speak. She focused on her shooting instead. Free throws were about control, about doing the same motion perfectly every single time. Even when her heart was breaking, she could still make free throws. Mrs. Chen went inside to start her workday. Destiny kept shooting. 7 o'clock came and went. Then 7:30. At 8 o'clock she knew it was time to go home and get ready for the hospital. But before she left, she stood at the free throw line one more time. She closed her eyes and whispered the same words she said every morning.
"I have to be strong enough. I have to."
The ball left her hands in a perfect arc. It swished through the net without touching the rim. She opened her eyes and picked up the ball. Time to face the scariest day of her life. Back at the hospital, "Mrs. Martinez," a doctor in blue scrubs walked toward them. "I'm Dr. Kim. I'll be doing Carlos's surgery." Rosa stood up quickly. "How long will it take?" "About 8 hours, Dr. Kim said. "It's a complex procedure, but Carlos is strong. We're going to take very good care of him." 8 hours. Destiny did the math in her head. They wouldn't know if Carlos was okay until 10 o'clock tonight. Maybe later. Dr. Kim knelt down to Destiny's level. "Are you Carlos's big sister?" "Yes, ma'am. He told me you're the best basketball player in Chicago." Despite everything, Destiny almost smiled. "He says that about everything I do. That's what little brothers are for," Dr. Kim said kindly. "We'll take good care of him. I promise." After Dr. Kim left, the waiting began. Rosa paced back and forth. She called her sister in Mexico. She called her boss to say she couldn't come to work. She called the school to say Destiny wouldn't be there today. Destiny just held her basketball and watched the clock on the wall tick by, 1 second at a time. Other families came and went. Some looked happy when doctors brought them good news. Others looked sad and scared, just like Destiny felt inside. At 5 o'clock, Rosa bought them sandwiches from the hospital cafeteria. Neither of them was hungry, but they ate anyway. "Destiny," Rosa said quietly, "I need to tell you something." Destiny looked at her mom's tired face. "The surgery costs more money than we have. A lot more." "How much more?" Rosa took a deep breath. $50,000 more. $50,000. Destiny couldn't even imagine that much money. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know, baby, I don't know." They sat in silence for a while. Around them, the hospital buzzed with activity. Doctors rushed past. Nurses pushed carts down the hallways. Families whispered to each other in different languages. But Destiny only heard one thing: the sound of her own heartbeat, fast and scared in her chest. She looked down at her basketball again. The leather was smooth from thousands of hours of practice. This ball had been with her through everything. When Dad left, when Carlos got sick, when Mom cried at night, thinking nobody could hear her, Destiny squeezed the ball tight and closed her eyes. She pictured herself on the court at Lincoln Community Center, shooting free throws in the early morning quiet. "I have to be strong enough," she whispered to herself. But for the first time in 3 years, Destiny wasn't sure she was strong enough for this. The clock on the hospital wall read 6:47 p.m. Carlos had been in surgery for almost 5 hours. Rosa had fallen asleep in her chair, her head tilted back and her mouth slightly open. She looked older when she slept, like all the worry had carved lines on her face. Destiny couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she pictured Carlos on the operating table. She imagined his little heart, sick and struggling. The doctors had shown them pictures of what was wrong, but Destiny didn't understand all the medical words. She just knew it was serious, very serious. A nurse walked by, pushing a cart full of medicine. Her shoes squeaked against the shiny floor. Destiny counted the squeaks, 17 steps until the sound disappeared around the corner. She needed to move. Sitting still was making everything worse. "Mom?" Destiny whispered. Rosa didn't wake up. She was exhausted from working 3 jobs and worrying about Carlos every single day. Destiny stood up quietly and walked to the big windows at the end of the hallway. Outside, Chicago looked busy and normal. Cars drove by, people walked on sidewalks. The world kept moving even though her world had stopped. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass and watched the sun disappear behind the tall buildings. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow Carlos would either be better. Destiny didn't let herself finish that thought. Meanwhile, across the city, Michael Jordan sat in his black SUV in the parking lot of a fancy restaurant. Through the windows he could see his business meetings still going on. Men in expensive suits talked about endorsement deals and marketing strategies. They waved their hands and pointed at charts on laptops. 2 hours ago, Michael had excused himself to take a phone call, but he never went back inside. Instead, he'd been driving around Chicago, thinking about things that mattered more than money and contracts. He thought about his childhood, about the first time he held a basketball, about the community center where he learned to play, surrounded by kids who became like family. Those days felt real. Everything in that restaurant felt fake. Michael started his engine and drove away without looking back. He didn't have a destination in mind. He just drove through the streets where he grew up, remembering what it felt like to be young and hungry and full of dreams. That's when he saw it, Lincoln Community Center. The building looked tired and worn, but something about it called to him. Maybe it was the outdoor basketball court visible through the chain-link fence. Maybe it was the way the evening light hit the backboard just right. Or maybe it was the memories of his own community center, where an old man named Mr. Washington taught him that basketball was about more than scoring points. Michael pulled into the parking lot and sat for a moment. Through his tinted windows, he watched a few teenagers leave the building. They were laughing and joking, their voices echoing off the concrete walls. He smiled. That sound, young people being happy, was better than any crowd cheering his name. Michael grabbed a hoodie from his back seat and pulled it over his head. He put on sunglasses even though the sun was setting. Then he walked toward the community center entrance. Inside Lincoln Community Center, Jamal Williams was having the worst day of his 17-year-old life. First, his alarm didn't go off, so he was 20 minutes late to his morning shift at the grocery store. His boss, Mr. Peterson, yelled at him in front of all the customers. Then he had to run straight from the grocery store to Lincoln Community Center for his afternoon job. No time for lunch, no time to change his uniform shirt that smelled like fish from the seafood department. And now Mr. Rodriguez. The head administrator was walking toward Jamal's security desk, with that look on his face. The look that meant more bad news. Williams, Mr. Rodriguez said sharply. We need to talk. Jamal's stomach dropped. Yes, sir. I got a complaint that you let some kids stay past closing time yesterday. Sir, they were just finishing their homework in the study room. I thought. You thought wrong. Mr. Rodriguez crossed his arms. Rules are rules. Closing time is closing time. No exception. But they didn't have anywhere else to go. Williams, this is your third warning this month. One more mistake and you're out. Do you understand me? Jamal nodded, feeling heat rise in his cheeks. Yes, sir. Good. Now do your job properly. Mr. Rodriguez walked away, leaving Jamal alone at the security desk. Jamal stared at the sign-in sheet in front of him, trying not to think about what would happen if he lost this job. His mom depended on the money he brought home. Without it, they might not make rent next month. He had to do everything perfectly from now on. No more letting kids bend the rules, even when they needed help. No more being 5 minutes late, even when the bus broke down. No more mistake. The front door opened, and Jamal looked up to see a tall man in a grey hoodie and sunglasses walking toward him. Excuse me, the man said politely. Is the gym open? Jamal sat up straighter, remembering Mr. Rodriguez's warning. Do you have a membership card, sir? The man smiled. It was a nice smile, but Jamal couldn't see his eyes behind the dark glasses. I was hoping to just shoot around for a bit. I'll pay the daily rate. I'm sorry, but this facility is for community members only. You need to fill out paperwork and show proof of address. The stranger nodded like he understood. What's the process for becoming a member? Jamal pulled out a clipboard with forms attached. Fill these out. Bring 2 forms of ID and a utility bill showing you live in the area. Then Mr. Rodriguez has to approve your application. How long does approval take? Usually a week. Sometimes longer. The man looked disappointed but not angry. I see. What's your name, young man? Jamal Williams, sir. Well, Jamal Williams, I respect that you're following the rules. That shows character. Something about the way the stranger said it made Jamal feel proud instead of embarrassed. Most adults got mad when he told them about the rules. This man seemed to appreciate that Jamal was doing his job correct. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry I can't let you in today. No need to apologize. You're protecting this place. That matters. The stranger turned to leave, then stopped. This community center. It seems like a special place. Jamal looked around the lobby with its faded posters and worn-out furniture. It's not much to look at, but yeah, it's pretty special. Kids come here after school. Seniors play cards on Tuesday nights. Mrs. Chen runs basketball camps in the summer. Sounds like it serves the community well. Yes, sir. We try to help people. The man nodded thoughtfully. Keep up the good work, Jamal. After he left, Jamal felt better about his day. Maybe he'd made a mistake with Mr. Rodriguez, but he'd done something right just now. He'd protected the community center and been respectful at the same time. Outside in the parking lot, Michael sat in his SUV, watching the community center through his windshield. Something about this place felt important, and something about that young security guard, Jamal, reminded him of himself at that age. Serious about doing the right thing, trying to make his family proud, working hard even when nobody was watching. Michael pulled out his phone and called his assistant. Sarah, I need you to do something for me. Of course, Mr. Jordan. What do you need? I want to become a member at a community center called Lincoln Community Center on the South Side. Use a different name, Mike Johnson. Set up a fake address if you need to. I want everything to look completely normal. May I ask why? Michael looked at the basketball court through the fence. A few kids were still out there playing in the fading light. They moved with joy and energy, like basketball was the most important thing in the world. Because sometimes you find exactly what you're looking for in the last place you'd expect to look. 3 days later, Mike Johnson would walk through those doors with proper paperwork, ready to shoot baskets and remember why he fell in love with basketball in the first place. He had no idea he was about to meet a 12-year-old girl who would change his life forever. 3 days later, Lincoln Community Center. The good news came at 11:30 p.m. on surgery night. Dr. Kim walked into the waiting room with tired eyes but a big smile. "Carlos is going to be fine," she said. Destiny had cried so hard that night she didn't think she had any tears left. But when she heard those words, she cried again. Happy tears this time. Carlos spent 4 days in the hospital. Destiny visited every afternoon after school. She brought him comic books and told him about her basketball practice. She promised to teach him how to shoot free throws when he got better. "Will you really?" Carlos asked, his voice still weak from the surgery. "I promise," Destiny said. "But first you have to get strong again." Now Carlos was home, sleeping in his own bed and eating Rosa's homemade soup. The doctors said his heart was working perfectly. The surgery had been a complete success, but the bills were piling higher on the kitchen table. $50,000 plus all the other medical costs. Rosa worked extra hours at all 3 of her jobs, but it wasn't enough. It would never be enough. Destiny tried not to think about the money. Instead, she focused on basketball. Every morning at 6 a.m. she was back on the court at Lincoln Community Center, shooting free throws in the quiet dawn light. That's where she was when Mike Johnson walked through the community center doors for the first time. Jamal looked up from his homework as the tall man approached the security desk. He was wearing the same gray hoodie as 3 days ago, but this time he carried a folder full of paperwork. "Good afternoon," the man said politely. "I'm here to use the gym." I filled out the membership application. Jamal took the folder and looked through the papers. Everything was in order. Driver's license for Mike Johnson. Utility bill showing an address 6 blocks away. Emergency contact information. All signed and dated properly. "Welcome to Lincoln Community Center, Mr. Johnson," Jamal said, handing him a temporary membership card. "The gym is down that hallway, through the double doors." "Thank you, Jamal." Jamal was surprised the man remembered his name. Most adults forgot within 5 minutes. Mike walked down the hallway, his heart beating faster than usual. He hadn't felt nervous about playing basketball in 20 years. But something about this place made everything feel new and important again. He pushed through the double doors and stepped into the gym. The space was smaller than he expected. The floor was polished but old, with scuff marks from thousands of games. The baskets looked regulation height, though the nets were frayed from use. Sunlight streamed through high windows, creating patches of bright and shadow across the court. And there, at the free throw line, was a girl. She looked about 12 years old, with long black hair pulled back in a ponytail. She wore faded jeans and sneakers that had seen better days. But when she shot the basketball, everything about her form was perfect. Mike stopped walking and watched. The girl's feet were positioned exactly right. Her shooting motion was smooth and consistent. The ball arced through the air in a perfect rainbow and dropped through the net without touching the rim. She grabbed the ball, dribbled twice, and lined up for another shot. Swish. Another perfect shot. Mike had seen thousands of players in his life. College stars, NBA veterans, Olympic champions. But something about this girl's shooting caught his attention. It wasn't just her technique, though that was impressive for someone so young. It was her focus, her intensity. The way she seemed to pour everything she had into each shot. The girl noticed him watching and stopped dribbling. She looked nervous, like she wasn't sure if she was supposed to be there. "Don't mind me," Mike said gently. "Nice shooting." The girl's cheeks turned pink. "Thank you," she whispered. "Mind if I join you?" She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. Mike walked to the other basket and picked up a ball from the rack. He started with some easy shots close to the rim, just to get a feel for the gym. They shot in comfortable silence for about 10 minutes. Mike noticed that the girl made almost every shot she took. Her form never changed, no matter how many times she repeated the same motion. "How long have you been playing?" he asked. 3 years, she said quietly. "Who taught you to shoot like that?" The girl looked embarrassed. "I learned from videos on my phone and lots of practice." Mike was amazed. Most players with form that good had worked with professional coaches for years. This girl had taught. "What's your name?" he asked. "Destiny Martinez." "Nice to meet you, Destiny. I'm Mike Johnson." They went back to shooting. Mike found himself matching her rhythm. When she took a free throw, he took a free throw. When she moved to the three-point line, he did the same. After another 20 minutes, Destiny finally spoke again. "You're really good," she said. Mike smiled. "You're better." "No, I'm not." But she looked pleased by the compliment. "How often do you practice here?" "Every day, morning and afternoon, when I can." "Every day?" Mike was impressed. Even professional players didn't practice with that kind of dedication. "I like it here," Destiny said. "It's quiet. Nobody bothers me." Mike understood that feeling completely. Basketball had always been his escape too. The court was the one place where everything made sense. "You remind me of someone I used to know," he said. Destiny looked curious. "Who?" Mike thought about how to answer. "Myself, when I was about your age." "Did you play basketball when you were 12? "Every chance I got. Morning, afternoon, sometimes until it was too dark to see the rim." Destiny smiled. The first real smile Mike had seen from her. "That's what I do too." They kept shooting as the afternoon sunlight moved across the gym floor. Mike felt more relaxed than he had in months. There was something pure about this. Just two people who loved basketball, sharing a court and enjoying the game. Mrs. Chen appeared in the doorway, checking on the gym. She saw Destiny playing with the new member and smiled. In 3 years, she had never seen Destiny play with another person. The girl was always alone, always focused, always carrying some invisible weight on her shoulders. But right now, Destiny looked happy. She was talking to the stranger and even laughing a little. Mrs. Chen decided not to interrupt. Whatever was happening here was good for Destiny. After an hour of shooting, Mike started to pack up his gear. He had a dinner meeting he couldn't miss, though he wished he could stay longer. "Same time tomorrow?" Destiny asked hopefully. Mike looked at her earnest face and made a decision that would change both their lives. "If you want me to," he said. "I do. Then I'll be here." As Mike walked toward the exit, Destiny called after him. "Mr. Johnson?" "Yes?" "Thank you for playing with me. I usually practice alone." Mike turned back to look at her. She was standing in the middle of the court, holding her basketball against her hip. The afternoon sunlight made her look small and young, but there was something strong about her too. Something that reminded him of his own hunger to be great. "Thank you, Destiny," he said. "You reminded me why I love this game." After he left, Destiny kept shooting for another 30 minutes. But something was different now. The gym didn't feel lonely anymore. For the first time in months, she was actually excited about tomorrow. She had no idea that the kind stranger named Mike Johnson was really Michael Jordan, and she had no idea that he was already planning to do everything he could to help her family. All she knew was that someone had treated her like she mattered. Someone had seen her shoot and called her good. Someone had promised to come back tomorrow. Sometimes that was enough to change everything. The next week, True to his word, Mike Johnson showed up at Lincoln Community Center every afternoon at 3:30 p.m. right after Destiny got out of school. At first, their conversations were short and simple. "How was school today?" Mike would ask as they started shooting. "Okay," Destiny would answer. "Learn anything interesting?" "Not really." But slowly, day by day, Destiny began to open up. On Tuesday, she told him about her math test. She got an A, but nobody at home had time to celebrate. Carlos was still recovering, and Rosa was working double shifts at the hospital cafeteria. On Wednesday, Mike taught her a new shooting drill. Instead of just standing at the free throw line, he showed her how to catch and shoot quickly from different spots. "Basketball isn't just about perfect form," he explained. "It's about adapting to what the game gives you." Destiny practiced the drill until her legs were tired, but she never complained. Mike had never met a kid with such determination. On Thursday, it rained. The outdoor court was too wet to use, so they shot in the indoor gym. Destiny seemed more nervous inside, like she wasn't sure she belonged there. "This is your court too," Mike told her. "You have just as much right to be here as anyone." By Friday, Destiny was actually smiling during practice. She made jokes about Mike's old-fashioned sneakers. She asked him questions about basketball strategy. "Why do you play?" Mike asked her that day. Destiny thought for a moment before answering. "It makes me feel like I can do anything, even when everything else is falling apart." Mike understood that feeling completely. Basketball had saved him too, in different ways. The following Monday, Destiny arrived at the community center with red, puffy eyes. She tried to hide it by looking down at the floor, but Mike noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" he asked gently. "Nothing," she said, but her voice cracked. Mike handed her a basketball. Sometimes the court is the only place that makes sense. They started shooting, but Destiny's shots were off. Her form was still perfect, but something was different. Angry, desperate. After 20 minutes of silence, the words finally came out. "Carlos had to go back to the hospital last night." Mike stopped dribbling. "Is he okay?" "The doctors say he's fine, just a checkup because he had a fever." But Mom was so scared. Destiny's voice got quieter. "I was scared too." "That's normal," Mike said. "When someone you love is sick, being scared shows how much you care." Destiny wiped her nose with her sleeve. "My dad used to say that basketball was the only thing that made sense when the world got crazy." "Where is he now?" The question hung in the air for a long moment. "Gone," Destiny said finally. "When Carlos got sick, Dad said he couldn't handle it. He left us 6 months ago." Mike felt his chest tighten. He thought about his own father, James Jordan, who had supported him through every challenge, who drove him to practice and never missed a game, who stayed and fought when things got hard. "I'm sorry," Mike said. "That must hurt a lot." "It does." Tears started running down Destiny's cheeks. "Some days I hate him for leaving. Other days I just miss him." Mike didn't try to give advice or fix her pain. He just passed her the ball and let her shoot. They played for 2 hours that day. Destiny shot until her arms were tired and her tears were dry. Mike rebounded every shot and passed the ball back without saying a word. As they packed up to leave, Destiny looked at him with serious eyes. "Thank you for staying," she said. "Thank you for trusting me," Mike replied. That night, Mike couldn't stop thinking about Destiny's family. A single mother working 3 jobs, a little boy recovering from heart surgery, medical bills that would take years to pay off, and a 12-year-old girl trying to hold everything together with basketball and willpower. He made a decision that would change all their lives. Tuesday afternoon, "Destiny," Mike said as they started practice, "I want to teach you something new today." "Another shooting drill?" "Not exactly. I want to teach you about mental toughness." Destiny looked confused. "What do you mean?" Mike picked up a basketball and stood at the free throw line. Basketball isn't just about making shots. It's about making shots when the pressure is on, when everyone is watching, when you're tired and scared and everything is going wrong. He shot the ball. It swished through the net. That's easy when the gym is quiet and nobody is counting, he continued. But what about when your team is down by 1 point with 10 seconds left? What about when you've missed your last 5 shots and you're starting to doubt yourself? Destiny nodded. She had felt that kind of pressure before, even just playing alone. The secret isn't avoiding pressure, Mike said. It's learning to love it. Learning to be your best when it matters most. How do you do that? Mike thought about all the championship games he'd played. All the moments when everything was on the line. You remember why you started playing in the first place. You remember that basketball gave you something when you had nothing else, and you trust that feeling. They practiced shooting under pressure. Mike called out distracting things while Destiny shot. He counted down imaginary game clocks. He created fake crowd noise. At first, Destiny's shots started missing. The pressure made her tense and anxious. Don't fight the pressure, Mike coached. Use it. Let it make you focus harder, not worry more. Slowly, Destiny began to improve. Her shots started falling again, even with distractions. Basketball isn't about the ball going in, Mike explained as they finished practice. It's about not giving up when everything tells you to quit. Destiny absorbed every word. She could tell this man had learned these lessons somewhere important, somewhere that mattered. Were you ever in a really big game? She asked. Mike smiled. A few. Did you win? Sometimes. But the games I lost taught me more than the ones I won. As they walked toward the exit, Mike made his decision. Destiny, can I ask you something? Sure. How much are your family's medical bills? Destiny's face went red. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not worrying, I'm asking. She was quiet for a long time. A lot. More than we can ever pay. Mike nodded. What if I told you I might know someone who could help? Destiny looked at him suspiciously. What kind of help? The kind that matters. But before Mike could explain further, Mrs. Chen appeared in the doorway. Destiny, your mom is here to pick you up. Through the window, they could see Rosa Martinez walking toward the building. She looked tired, wearing a hospital cafeteria uniform. Think about what I said, Mike told Destiny. Some problems are too big to solve alone. But that doesn't mean they can't be solved. Destiny picked up her basketball and headed toward the door, but she turned back one more time. Mr. Johnson? Yes? Why do you care so much about helping my family? Mike looked at this brave, determined girl who reminded him so much of himself at that age. A kid who loved basketball purely, who practiced until her hands were raw, who carried her family's weight on her 12-year-old shoulders. Because you remind me that basketball is about more than winning games, he said. It's about lifting each other up. Destiny didn't fully understand what he meant, but she could hear the truth in his voice. As she walked outside to meet her mother, Mike watched through the window. He saw Rosa hug her daughter and ask about her day. He saw the love between them, even though they were both carrying so much worry. Tomorrow, he would start making phone calls. Tonight, he would figure out exactly how to help this family without making them feel like charity cases. Because sometimes, when you found someone worth fighting for, you had to be willing to step up and fight. That evening, Mike sat in his home office, staring at his computer screen. The room was filled with trophies and awards from his playing days, but tonight, they felt like decorations from someone else's life. He had spent the last 2 hours researching the Martinez family's situation. What he found made his heart hurt. Carlos's medical records showed the surgery had cost $27,000. The family's insurance covered only part of it. Their remaining debt was $58,000, more than Rosa made in an entire year working 3 jobs. But that wasn't the worst part. Carlos would need follow-up appointments for the rest of his childhood. More tests. More procedures if anything went wrong. The bills would never stop coming. Mike picked up his phone and called his assistant. "Sarah, I need you to find the best pediatric heart doctor in Chicago. Is everything okay, Mr. Jordan? I have a friend whose little boy needs ongoing care. I want to make sure he gets the best. I'll have a list for you by morning. Also, I need you to look into a family named Martinez. Rosa Martinez lives on the south side. She has 2 kids, Destiny and Carlos. I want to know everything about their financial situation." Sarah was used to Michael's unusual requests, but this sounded personal. "May I ask why?" Mike looked out his window at the Chicago skyline. Somewhere out there, Destiny was probably doing homework at a kitchen table covered with medical bills. Carlos was probably sleeping in a bed next to his sisters, his little heart beating strong thanks to surgery his family couldn't afford, because they need help, and I'm in a position to give it. Should I put any expenses on your personal account? Yes. And Sarah, keep this completely confidential. Nobody can know I'm involved. Of course, Mr. Jordan. After hanging up, Mike opened his laptop and started typing an email to his financial advisor. The subject line read, "Emergency Fund." The next day at Lincoln Community Center, Destiny bounced into the gym with more energy than Mike had seen in days. Carlos was feeling better, and Rosa had found a few extra hours of work at the school cafeteria. "Guess what?" Destiny said as she grabbed a basketball. "What?" "Carlos tried to shoot a basketball yesterday. Mom got him one of those little plastic hoops for his bedroom." Mike smiled. "Did he make any shots?" 3 out of 10. But he was so proud. Destiny's face lit up when she talked about her little brother. "He said when he gets stronger, he wants me to teach him everything you taught me." That sounds like a plan. They started with their usual warm-up routine. Mike had been teaching Destiny more advanced moves each day. Today's lesson was about creating space for her shot. Sometimes in basketball and in life, you have to step back to move forward, he explained, demonstrating a fadeaway jumper. Destiny tried to copy the move. Her first attempt was clumsy, but her second was better. "Why do you step back?" she asked. "To create space. When someone is guarding you too closely, you need room to operate." Destiny practiced the move over and over. Mike was amazed by her focus. Most kids her age got bored after 20 minutes. Destiny could practice the same thing for 2 hours without complaining. After an hour of shooting, Mrs. Chen knocked on the gym door. "Destiny, someone is here to see you." Through the glass, they could see Rosa Martinez standing in the hallway. She was wearing her cleaning uniform from the hospital and looked nervous. "Mum," Destiny called out, "what are you doing here?" Rosa entered the gym and walked toward them. Her English was limited, but she had practiced what she wanted to say. "I want to meet the man who makes my daughter so happy," she said carefully. Mike stepped forward and extended his hand. "Mrs. Martinez, I'm Mike Johnson. It's an honor to meet you." Rosa shook his hand and studied his face. She had been a mother long enough to recognize kindness when she saw it. "Destiny, she talks about you every day," Rosa said. "She says you teach her basketball, but also other things. She's an exceptional young lady. You should be very proud." Rosa's eyes filled with tears. In the past 6 months, she had heard mostly bad news about her family. Medical reports about Carlos's heart, bills they couldn't pay, notices from debt collectors. But here was a stranger telling her that her daughter was exceptional. "Life has been very hard," Rosa said quietly. "But Destiny, she stays strong. She takes care of Carlos when I work. She never complains." Mike looked at Destiny, who was standing nearby listening to every word. He could see her embarrassment at being talked about, but also her pride in her mother's words. "Mrs. Martinez," Mike said carefully, Destiny tells me Carlos is recovering well from his surgery. Rosa nodded. Yes, his heart is good now, but she looked down at her hand. But the medical bills are overwhelming, Mike finished gently. Rosa looked surprised that he knew. Destiny told you? She mentioned it. I hope that's okay. It's okay. We have no secrets about our troubles. Mike made a decision. Mrs. Martinez, what if I told you I might know people who could help with those bills? Rosa looked suspicious. In her experience, when strangers offered help, they usually wanted something in return. What kind of help? She asked. The kind that doesn't expect anything back. Destiny stepped between them. Mr. Johnson, we don't need charity. Mike knelt down to her eye level. It's not charity, Destiny. It's community. Sometimes we help each other because that's what good people do. Rosa watched this exchange with growing curiosity. This man spoke to her daughter with respect, like her opinion mattered. He didn't talk down to her or treat her like a child. What do you do for work, Mr. Johnson? Rosa asked. Mike hesitated. He couldn't exactly say he was a retired basketball player. I work in sports. I've been fortunate in my career. And you want to help our family because... Mike looked at Destiny, then back at Rosa. Because your daughter reminded me why I love basketball, and because good families shouldn't have to choose between medical care and paying rent. Rosa was quiet for a long moment. She studied Mike's face, looking for signs that this was too good to be true. I don't understand why a stranger would care so much, she said finally. Because we're not strangers anymore, Mike replied. We're friends. Meanwhile, across the gym, Jamal was pretending to clean the windows while listening to every word of this conversation. Something about Mike Johnson didn't add up. The expensive shoes hidden under worn-out clothes. The perfect basketball form. The way he carried himself like someone used to being important. And now he was offering to help pay medical bills for a family he'd just met. Jamal had been watching Mike for over a week. The more he observed, the more convinced he became that this wasn't just any community member. That evening, Jamal went home and did something he'd never done before. He Googled famous basketball players and started comparing photos to the man he'd been watching. When he got to the image of Michael Jordan's fadeaway shot, his suspicions were confirmed. The stance was identical. The form was perfect. Even 20 years after retirement, muscle memory didn't lie. Jamal stared at his phone screen in disbelief. The greatest basketball player of all time was spending his afternoons at Lincoln Community Center, teaching a 12-year-old girl how to shoot. But why? And more importantly, what was Jamal supposed to do with this information? Back at the community center, as Rosa prepared to leave, she turned to Mike one more time. Mr. Johnson, if you really know people who could help us, we would be very grateful. Let me make some phone calls, Mike said. I'll see what I can do. After Rosa left, Destiny and Mike finished their practice session. But something had changed. The conversation with her mother had made everything more real. Are you really going to try to help us? Destiny asked as they packed up their gear. I'm going to do everything I can. Why? Mike thought about all the reasons. Because she reminded him of himself. Because her family deserved better. Because he had more money than he could ever spend. And they had medical bills they could never pay. But the real reason was simpler than that. Because you matter, Destiny. Your family matters. And when you have the power to help good people, you should use it. Destiny nodded, but Mike could see she was still processing everything. Mr. Johnson? Yes? If you do help us, how can we ever pay you back? Mike smiled. You already have. You reminded me that basketball is about more than winning games. It's about lifting each other up. As they walked toward the exit, Mike was already planning his next moves. Tomorrow, he would call the hospital's billing department. He would arrange for Carlos's follow-up care With the best doctors in Chicago, he would find a way to help this family without making them feel like charity cases. And somehow he would do all of this without revealing who he really was. Because sometimes the best help came from unexpected places. And sometimes changing someone's life was as simple as showing up every day and caring enough to stay. The next morning, Jamal arrived at Lincoln Community Center 30 minutes early. He had barely slept all night, staring at basketball videos on his phone and comparing them to the man he'd been watching for over a week. The fadeaway shot, the way he held the ball, even the way he walked. Everything matched. Mike Johnson was Michael Jordan. But Jamal faced a problem that kept him awake until 3 a.m. What was he supposed to do with this information? His first thought was to tell everyone. Imagine the excitement. The greatest basketball player of all time was practicing at their community center. The media would go crazy. Everyone would want to know why. But then Jamal remembered something important. Michael Jordan had gone to great trouble to hide his identity. He used a fake name and fake address. He dressed in old clothes and kept his head down. He clearly wanted privacy. There had to be a good reason for that. Jamal sat at his security desk, watching the front door and thinking. In a few hours, Mike would walk through that door for another practice session with Destiny. And Jamal would have to decide whether to protect his secret or expose it. Meanwhile, across town, Mike was on his third phone call of the morning. His assistant Sarah had worked late into the night, gathering information about the Martinez family's medical debt. The total outstanding balance is $58,027, Sarah reported. The hospital has been very patient, but they're starting to pressure the family for payment. I want you to pay it off, Mike said without hesitation. All of it. How should I handle it? Direct payment? Mike thought carefully. No, that would raise too many questions. Set up an anonymous charitable fund. Call it the Chicago Community Health Foundation. Make it look like they qualified for financial assistance. That's very thoughtful, Mr. Jordan. Also, I want Carlos to have access to the best pediatric cardiologist in the city. Arrange for all his follow-up care to be covered by the same foundation. Sarah made notes as she talked. What about the family's other expenses? Rent, utilities, groceries? Mike paused. He wanted to help with everything, but he also knew the Martinez family had pride. Too much help might feel like charity instead of support. Start with the medical bills, he decided. We can figure out other ways to help later. Should I arrange for them to be notified today? Yes. But make sure it can't be traced back to me. After ending the call, Mike sat in his kitchen drinking coffee and thinking about what he was about to do. In a few hours, the Martinez family would learn that their crushing medical debt had disappeared. Their lives would change completely. But they would never know it came from the stranger who played basketball with their daughter every afternoon. Back at Lincoln Community Center, at 2 p.m., Jamal was still wrestling with his decision when he saw a familiar black SUV pull into the parking lot. Mike stepped out wearing his usual gray hoodie and sunglasses. He walked toward the building with the same casual confidence Jamal had been observing for days. But now, knowing who he really was, everything looked different. The way he carried himself wasn't just confidence, it was the presence of someone who had performed in front of millions of people. The expensive SUV wasn't just a nice car, it was the kind of vehicle a superstar would drive. How had Jamal not noticed these things before? "Good afternoon, Jamal," Mike said as he approached the security desk. "Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson," Jamal replied, stumbling slightly over the fake name. Mike noticed the hesitation. "Everything okay?" Jamal's heart pounded. This was his moment of truth. He could ask the question that was burning in his mind. He could demand to know why Michael Jordan was pretending to be a regular community member. Instead, he made a different choice. Everything's fine, sir. Destiny's already in the gym. Mike nodded and headed toward the basketball court. As he walked away, Jamal felt a mixture of relief and pride. He had protected someone's privacy, even when he didn't fully understand why it needed protecting. But his curiosity was stronger than ever. In the gym, Destiny was working on the fadeaway shot Mike had taught her the day before. Her form was getting better, but she was still struggling with the timing. "Remember," Mike said as he joined her, "it's not about jumping backward. It's about creating space and staying balanced." They practiced together for 20 minutes. Mike could see Destiny's improvement every day. Her natural talent was remarkable, but her work ethic was what impressed him most. "Mr. Johnson," Destiny said during a water break, "can I ask you something?" "Of course. You said yesterday that you might know people who could help my family with the medical bills." Mike nodded. "I made some phone calls this morning, and I think there might be good news coming soon." Destiny looked at him with hope and suspicion mixed together. "What kind of good news?" "The kind that means your mom can stop working 3 jobs." Before Destiny could ask more questions, her phone buzzed with a text message. She looked at it and her face went pale. "What is it?" Mike asked. "It's from my mom. She says the hospital called. They want her to come in right away to talk about Carlos's bills." Mike's heart raced. The anonymous payment must have gone through faster than expected. "Does she sound worried?" he asked. Destiny read the message again. "She sounds scared. She thinks they're going to make us pay everything immediately. Maybe you should go with her, but we're not done practicing." Mike put his hand on Destiny's shoulder. "Some things are more important than basketball practice. Go be with your family." Destiny packed up her gear quickly. As she headed toward the door, she turned back one more time. "Mr. Johnson?" "Yes?" "If this is bad news, if they're going to make us pay all the money right now, what will happen to us?" Mike's heart broke a little. This 12-year-old girl was worried about her family losing their home over medical bills. "Don't borrow trouble, Destiny. Wait to hear what they actually say." "But what if?" "Trust me," Mike said gently. "Sometimes good things happen when you least expect them." 2 hours later, Mike was shooting alone in the gym when he heard commotion in the hallway. Excited voices speaking in Spanish. Someone was crying, but they sounded like happy tears. A few minutes later, Destiny burst through the gym doors with tears streaming down her face. "Mr. Johnson," she called out, running across the court. Mike caught her as she threw her arms around him in a huge hug.
They paid it.
She sobbed into his shoulder. "Someone paid all of Carlos's medical bills. All of them." Mike hugged her back, feeling his own eyes get watery. "That's wonderful news." The hospital said a charity called the Chicago Community Health Foundation selected our family for financial assistance. They paid $58,000. "Can you believe it?" "I can believe it," Mike said quietly. Destiny pulled back and looked at his face. "Mom is crying so hard she can barely talk. She keeps saying, 'Gracias, Dios.'" "Gracias." "Where are your mom and Carlos now?" "They're in the parking lot. Mom is on the phone with my aunt in Mexico, telling her the news. Carlos is dancing around the car." Mike smiled. "You should go celebrate with them." "I will. But first I had to tell you, you said good things happen when you least expect them." "You were right." As Destiny ran back toward the parking lot, Mike stood alone in the gym, feeling something he hadn't experienced in years. Pure joy. Not the satisfaction of winning a game or making money, just the simple happiness that came from helping people he cared about. Through the window, he could see the Martinez family in the parking lot. Rosa was still crying and talking on the phone. Carlos was spinning in circles with his arms spread wide. Destiny was explaining everything to her little brother in rapid Spanish. They looked like a family who had been carrying a crushing weight, and suddenly found themselves free. At the security desk, Jamal watched the celebration in the parking lot and put the pieces together. Yesterday, Mike Johnson had asked Rosa about her medical bills. Today, those bills mysteriously disappeared. The timing was too perfect to be a coincidence. Jamal pulled out his phone and did one more internet search. This time he looked up Michael Jordan's charitable giving. What he found made everything clear. Michael Jordan had donated millions of dollars to hospitals, schools, and community programs. He was famous for helping families in crisis, often anonymously. The man pretending to be Mike Johnson hadn't just happened to hear about a charity that could help the Martinez family. He was the charity. Jamal looked through the window at the mysterious man who was changing lives with basketball lessons and anonymous generosity. Now he understood why Michael Jordan wanted to keep his identity secret. This wasn't about publicity or tax breaks. It was about genuinely caring for people without expecting anything in return. Jamal made his final decision about what to do with his discovery. He would protect Michael Jordan's secret for as long as necessary, because some things were more important than fame or recognition. And sometimes the greatest acts of kindness happened when nobody was watching. 3 weeks later, life had changed completely for the Martinez family. Without the crushing weight of medical bills, Rosa was able to cut back to just 2 jobs instead of 3. She had time to cook dinner with her children and help Destiny with homework. Carlos was getting stronger every day. His follow-up appointments with Dr. Sarah Kim went perfectly. His new heart was working beautifully, and he was even starting to play basketball in their small backyard. Destiny was happier than Mike had ever seen her. She still practiced every afternoon at Lincoln Community Center, but now their sessions felt lighter, less desperate, more like pure joy. "Look what Carlos drew for you," Destiny said one afternoon, pulling a folded paper from her backpack. Mike opened it to find a crayon drawing of a tall stick figure and a shorter one playing basketball. At the top, in careful 8-year-old handwriting, it said, "Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for teaching my sister basketball." "Tell him I said thank you," Mike said, genuinely touched. "This is going on my refrigerator at home." "Really? Really?" They were practicing Destiny's free throws when Mr. Rodriguez walked into the gym with Officer Patricia Thompson, the community liaison officer from the Chicago Police Department. Mike had never seen Mr. Rodriguez during his visits to the community center. The head administrator usually stayed in his office doing paperwork and making phone calls. "Excuse me," Mr. Rodriguez said loudly, interrupting their practice. "We need to speak with you, sir." Mike and Destiny stopped what they were doing. Something about Mr. Rodriguez's tone made the gym feel tense and uncomfortable. "Is there a problem?" Mike asked politely. "That's what we're trying to figure out," Officer Thompson said, stepping forward. She was a kind-looking woman in her 40s, but her expression was serious. "We received an anonymous tip that someone might be using false credentials to access this facility." Mike's heart started beating faster, but not for himself. He was worried about Destiny, who was standing next to him, looking confused and scared. "I'm not sure I understand," Mike said calmly. Mr. Rodriguez pulled out a folder. "We ran a background check on your membership information, Mr. Johnson. The address you provided doesn't exist. The phone number goes to a generic voicemail service." Destiny stepped protectively in front of Mike. "He's my friend. He didn't do anything wrong." "Young lady, please step aside," Officer Thompson said gently. "This is official business." Mike put his hand on Destiny's shoulder. "It's okay, let them do their job." But inside, Mike was calculating his options. He could continue the charade and hope they didn't dig deeper. He could leave quietly and never come back. Or he could tell the truth and deal with whatever consequences followed. The decision was made for him when Jamal Williams walked into the gym. Jamal had been watching from the security desk, his stomach churning with anxiety. For 3 weeks, he had successfully protected Michael Jordan's secret. But now that secret was about to be exposed by Mr. Rodriguez's investigation. "Mr. Rodriguez," Jamal said, his voice shaking slightly, "I can vouch for this man." "Jamal, this doesn't concern you," Mr. Rodriguez snapped. "Go back to your desk." "Actually, it does concern me." Jamal took a deep breath and looked directly at Mike. "I know exactly who this man is, and I know why he's here." Mike gave Jamal a slight nod. Not of permission, but of understanding. The young security guard had been protecting his secret, and Mike was grateful. "Then perhaps you can explain why he's using false information on his membership application," Officer Thompson said. Jamal looked around the gym. At Mr. Rodriguez, red-faced and impatient. At Officer Thompson, trying to do her job professionally. At Destiny, scared and confused about what was happening to her mentor. "Because some people deserve respect and privacy," Jamal said quietly, "even when they're just trying to help." "That's not good enough," Mr. Rodriguez said angrily. "Sir, I'm going to need to see proper identification, or I'll have to ask you to leave this facility permanently and consider filing trespassing charges." Destiny's eyes filled with tears. "You can't make him leave. He's the best basketball teacher I ever had." Mike looked down at this brave 12-year-old girl who was trying to protect him the same way he had been trying to protect her family. In that moment, he realized that hiding his identity wasn't protecting anyone anymore. It was just making things more complicated. "It's okay, Destiny," he said gently. "Sometimes the truth is the only way forward." Mike reached slowly into his wallet and pulled out his real driver's license. His hands were steady, but his mind was racing. Once he handed over that ID, everything would change. The quiet afternoons of basketball and mentoring would probably end. The media would descend. Destiny's private world would become public. But he couldn't let Mr. Rodriguez threaten him with trespassing charges, and he couldn't let Destiny think he was some kind of criminal. Officer Thompson took the ID and looked at it carefully. Her eyes widened as she read the name. "Oh my," she whispered. Mr. Rodriguez grabbed the ID impatiently. When he saw the name Michael Jeffrey Jordan, his face went completely pale. This has to be a fake," he stammered. Officer Thompson, who had been a Chicago Bulls fan since childhood, recognized the real thing when she saw it. "Sir, this is legitimate identification." The sound of footsteps echoed in the gym as Mrs. Chen arrived, having heard raised voices from her office. "What's going on here?" she asked, looking around at the tense scene. When she saw Officer Thompson examining an ID and Mr. Rodriguez looking like he might faint, Mrs. Chen's expression grew concerned. "There's been a misunderstanding about one of our members," Officer Thompson explained diplomatically. Mrs. Chen looked at Mike, then at Destiny, who was still standing protectively in front of her mentor. "Mr. Johnson has been nothing but respectful and helpful since he started coming here," Mrs. Chen said firmly. "I've watched him work with Destiny and I've never seen anything inappropriate or concerning." Mike appreciated Mrs. Chen's support, but he knew the secret was out now. "Mrs. Chen," he said quietly, "there's something you should know about me." But before he could continue, Destiny looked up at him with wide, confused eyes. "Mr. Johnson, why is everyone acting so weird? What's wrong with your ID?" Mike knelt down to her eye level. This was the moment he had been dreading and hoping for at the same time. "Destiny," he said gently, "I need to tell you something important. My real name isn't Mike Johnson." "What do you mean?" "My name is Michael Jordan." Destiny blinked several times, processing this information. The name sounded familiar, but she wasn't sure why. "Are you in trouble?" she asked innocently. Mike smiled despite the tension in the room. "No, sweetheart, I'm not in trouble, but some people think I'm famous." "Famous for what?" "For playing basketball." Mrs. Chen gasped as the pieces fell into place. Jamal stepped forward with a mixture of relief and nervousness. His secret was finally out in the open. "How famous?" Destiny asked. Before Mike could answer, Officer Thompson spoke up. "Young lady, Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players who ever lived. He won 6 championships with the Chicago Bulls." Destiny looked at Mike with new eyes. "Really? Really?" he said. "But more importantly, I'm your friend. That part hasn't changed." The gym fell quiet as everyone absorbed this revelation. Mr. Rodriguez looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Officer Thompson was trying to maintain her professional composure while internally fangirling. Mrs. Chen was staring at Mike like she was seeing him for the first time. And Destiny was just trying to understand why everyone was making such a big deal about her basketball coach. "So you're like really good at basketball?" she asked. "I was pretty good," Mike said modestly. "Were you still the same person who taught me the fadeaway shot?" "Absolutely." Destiny thought about this for a moment, then shrugged. "Okay, can we keep practicing now?" Everyone in the gym started laughing. Nervous laughter from the adults and genuine confusion from Destiny about why this was such a big deal. But Mike wasn't laughing. He was looking at Officer Thompson and Mr. Rodriguez, knowing that within hours, this story would be all over Chicago. The quiet, private mentoring that had meant so much to both him and Destiny was about to become very public indeed. 10 minutes later, Mr. Rodriguez had completely changed his attitude. The man who had been threatening Michael Jordan with trespassing charges was now practically bowing. "Mr. Jordan, sir, I am so sorry for this misunderstanding," he said, his voice shaky with nervousness. "If I had known who you were, you would have treated me exactly the same way," Mike interrupted firmly. "The rules should apply to everyone equally." Of course, but surely we can make some special arrangements for someone of your stature." Mike looked at Mr. Rodriguez with disappointment. "I don't want special arrangements. I just want to play basketball with my friend." Officer Thompson had put away her notebook and was trying to act professional, but Mike could see she was starstruck. "Mr. Jordan," she said carefully, "I have to ask, why the false identity?" "We had to investigate because someone called in a tip." "Who called?" Jamal asked suspiciously. Mr. Rodriguez looked uncomfortable. "That information is confidential." Mike suspected he knew who had made the anonymous call. Someone who had seen him coming and going from the community center and gotten curious or jealous. "I used a different name because I wanted privacy," Mike explained. "I came here to remember why I fell in love with basketball. I found something better, a chance to help a young person who loves the game as much as I do." Mrs. Chen stepped forward. "Mr. Jordan, I want you to know that you're welcome here anytime, under any name you choose." "Thank you, Mrs. Chen, that means a lot." But Mike knew the damage was done. Once word got out that Michael Jordan had been secretly training at Lincoln Community Center, their quiet refuge would be overrun with reporters, fans, and curiosity seekers. Destiny tugged on his sleeve. "Can I ask you something privately?" Mike nodded, and they walked to the far end of the court. The adults continued talking in hushed, excited voices. "Are you really famous, like they said?" Destiny asked. "Yes, I am. Like movie star famous, more like sports famous. People who love basketball know who I am." Destiny thought about this. "Is that why you used a fake name?" "I used a different name because I wanted to get to know you without all the craziness that comes with being famous." "What kind of craziness?" Mike looked toward the gym windows. Already he could see people gathering in the parking lot. Word was spreading fast. People taking pictures, reporters asking questions, fans wanting autographs. "It makes it hard to have normal relationships." Destiny followed his gaze to the windows. "Are those people here because of you?" "Probably." She was quiet for a moment, processing everything. Does this mean you won't be able to teach me basketball anymore? That was the question Mike had been dreading. Oh no, Destiny, everything just got a lot more complicated. But you're still the same person, right? You still know how to do the fadeaway shot? Mike smiled despite his worry. Yes, I'm still the same person. Then why should anything change? Out of the mouths of babes. Destiny's simple logic cut through all the adult complications and got to the heart of what mattered. You're absolutely right, Mike said. Nothing important has changed. They walked back to join the others. By now the crowd outside had grown larger. Mike could see people with phones pressed against the windows, trying to get pictures. Mr. Jordan, Officer Thompson said, I think you might want to consider leaving through the back exit. The front entrance is getting crowded. No, Mike said decisively. I'm not sneaking out like I did something wrong. Mr. Rodriguez looked panicked. But sir, think about the liability issues. What if someone gets hurt trying to get close to you? Then we'll handle it responsibly. Mrs. Chen, do you have a microphone or PA system? We have a small sound system in the community room, she replied. Good. I'd like to make a brief statement to explain what's been happening here. Jamal stepped forward. Mr. Jordan, I want to apologize. I knew who you were for weeks, but I kept your secret. I never told anyone. I know you did, Jamal, and I'm grateful. You showed real character. Then how did Mr. Rodriguez find out? Mr. Rodriguez shifted uncomfortably. Someone called our main office and suggested we investigate a suspicious person using fake credentials. They said the man claimed to be a basketball coach, but seemed too old and out of place. Mike felt a flash of anger. Someone had been watching him and Destiny, judging their friendship as suspicious. Whoever called was wrong, Destiny said fiercely. Mr. Jordan isn't suspicious. He's the kindest person I know. Mrs. Chen looked out at the growing crowd. Mr. Jordan, if you're going to make a statement, we should do it soon. I'm worried about crowd control. Mike nodded. Let's set it up in the community room. Jamal, would you help manage the crowd? Only let in about 20 people at a time. Yes, sir. As they prepared to leave the gym, Destiny grabbed Mike's hand. I'm scared, she admitted quietly. Scared of what? That everything's going to change, that people will want to take pictures of me and ask me questions, that I won't be able to just play basketball anymore. Mike squeezed her hand. Destiny, listen to me. I won't let anyone make you uncomfortable. If you want to keep our friendship private, we'll figure out how to do that. But what about all those people outside? They're curious about me, not you. You don't have to talk to anyone you don't want to. They walked through the community center hallways toward the community room. Through every window they could see more people arriving. Cars were parked along the street. Mike even spotted what looked like a news van pulling into the parking lot. Mrs. Chen set up the microphone while Jamal worked with Officer Thompson to organize the crowd. Mr. Rodriguez kept apologizing and offering to do anything Mike needed. Just treat Destiny and her family with respect, Mike told him. That's all I want. When everything was ready, Mike stood at the front of the community room. About 20 people were squeezed inside, community center members, neighbors, and a few reporters who had arrived quickly. Destiny sat in the front row with Mrs. Chen. She looked nervous but proud.
Good afternoon, Mike began.
I know there's been some confusion about why I'm here, so I wanted to clear things up. The room was completely quiet. 3 weeks ago, I came to Lincoln Community Center, looking for a place to remember why I fell in love with basketball. What I found was much better than that. He looked directly at Destiny. I met a young person who reminded me that basketball isn't about fame or money or winning championships. It's about the pure joy of the game. It's about working hard to improve. It's about the friendships you build along the way. A reporter raised her hand. Mr. Jordan, why did you use a false identity? Because I wanted to get to know this community as a regular person, not as a celebrity. I wanted authentic relationships, not ones based on my basketball career. What have you been doing here? Mike smiled. Playing basketball. Making friends. Being reminded of what's really important in life. Another reporter called out, "Is it true you've been coaching a young girl?" "I've been fortunate to spend time with a remarkable young player named Destiny Martinez. She's taught me as much as I've taught her." Destiny blushed as people turned to look at her. "Will you continue coming here now that your identity is public?" Mike looked around the room, at Mrs. Chen, at Jamal, at Destiny. "This community welcomed me when they thought I was just Mike Johnson. I hope they'll still welcome me as Michael Jordan." Mrs. Chen stood up. "Mr. Jordan, you'll always have a place here. That's what community means." The crowd applauded. Destiny clapped the loudest of anyone. As the impromptu press conference ended and people began to leave, Mike realized something important. Yes, everything was about to change. The media attention would be intense. His quiet afternoons with Destiny would never be the same. But the connection they had built, the mentorship, the friendship, the mutual respect, that was real. And real things could survive anything. Even the next morning, Destiny woke up to the sound of cars honking outside her bedroom window. She looked through the curtains and gasped. Their quiet street was packed with news vans, cars, and people with cameras. "Mom," she called out, running to the kitchen. Rosa was sitting at the table, staring at her phone with a confused expression. The screen showed a news article with a photo of Destiny and Mike playing basketball. "Mija," Rosa said softly, "there are reporters outside asking to talk to us." "About what?" "About Mr. Johnson. About you." Rosa showed her the phone. "The internet is full of stories about Michael Jordan's secret student." Destiny read the headline, "Basketball legend Michael Jordan secretly mentoring 12-year-old girl at Chicago Community Center." Her stomach dropped. "They wrote about me. They wrote about both of you. They're calling you his protege." Carlos bounced into the kitchen, completely unaware of the chaos outside. "Why are there so many cars on our street?" he asked cheerfully. "Because your sister is famous now," Rosa said, still trying to understand it all herself. "Destiny's famous? Cool." But Destiny didn't feel cool. She felt scared and exposed. Through the window, she could see a reporter talking into a camera, pointing at their apartment building. "I don't want to be famous," she said quietly. "I just want to play basketball." Rosa pulled her daughter close. "We don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want to." Destiny's phone buzzed with a text message. She looked at it hopefully, thinking it might be from Mike. Instead, it was from a classmate. "OMG, you're on TV. Are you really friends with Michael Jordan?" Then another text. And another. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. "Turn it off," Rosa advised. "We need to think about this carefully." At Lincoln Community Center, the scene was even more chaotic than at Destiny's apartment. The parking lot was full of news vans. Reporters stood in groups, interviewing anyone willing to talk. Police officers were directing traffic and trying to keep the sidewalks clear. Mrs. Chen stood in her office, watching through the window and shaking her head. In 20 years of running the community center, she had never seen anything like this. Jamal arrived for work to find reporters trying to interview him at the bus stop. "You're the security guard who knew Michael Jordan's secret, right?" A woman with a microphone asked. "No comment," Jamal said, pushing through the crowd. "How long did you know his real identity? Did he ask you to keep it secret? What was he like as a regular person?" Jamal kept walking, but the reporters followed him all the way to the community center entrance. Inside, Mrs. Chen met him at the security desk. "This is insane," Jamal said, still breathing hard from escaping the reporters. "It gets worse," Mrs. Chen replied. "We've had 50 phone calls this morning. News stations, Magazines, people wanting to rent the gym for photo shoots. Someone offered us $10,000 to let them film a commercial on the basketball court. What did you tell them? I told them we're not for sale. Through the front windows they could see more vans arriving. A helicopter circled overhead. Mrs. Chen, Jamal said, I think we should close the center today. I'm starting to agree with you. That's when Jamal's phone rang. The caller ID showed a number he didn't recognize. Hello? Jamal, this is Michael Jordan. Jamal's eyes widened. Mr. Jordan, how did you get my number? I have my ways. Listen, I'm sorry about all this craziness. I know it's affecting your work. It's okay, sir. I understand it's not your fault. Actually, it is my fault. I should have been more careful about keeping my identity hidden. Now everyone's lives are getting turned upside down. Through the window, Jamal watched a reporter interview someone who claimed to be a community center member, even though Jamal had never seen the person before. Mr. Jordan, are you still coming in today for practice with Destiny? There was a long pause. That's what I'm calling about. I don't think it's safe right now. There are too many people, too much chaos. I don't want Destiny to get hurt or overwhelmed. Jamal felt disappointed, but he understood. She's going to be upset. I know, that's why I'm calling you. Can you give her a message? Of course. Tell her that real friendship doesn't end because of reporters and cameras. Tell her I'm working on a plan to make this better. I will. And Jamal? Yes, sir. Thank you for protecting my secret as long as you did. You showed real character. After Mike hung up, Jamal stared at his phone. Even in the middle of this media circus, Michael Jordan was thinking about other people's feelings. Meanwhile, across town, Mike sat in his home office, watching news coverage of the story on multiple TV screens. Every major sports network was covering it. Social media was exploding with opinions and theories. Most of the coverage was positive. People were calling him inspirational for mentoring a young player without seeking publicity. But some comments made his stomach turn. Why is a grown man spending so much time with a little girl? One social media post asked. This seems suspicious. Another person wrote, what's the real story? Mike felt sick. The pure, innocent friendship he had with Destiny was being twisted by strangers who didn't know anything about their relationship. His assistant Sarah knocked on his office door. Mr. Jordan? There's someone here to see you. She says she's Destiny's mother. Mike looked up in surprise. Rosa Martinez is here? Yes, sir. She seems very upset. Mike hurried to his front door. Rosa stood on his doorstep looking small and overwhelmed. She had taken the bus across town to find his address. Mrs. Martinez, please come in, he said gently. Rosa stepped inside, looking around at his elegant home with wide eyes. Mr. Jordan, I'm sorry to bother you. You're not bothering me at all. Is Destiny okay? She's scared, Rosa said, starting to cry. There are reporters outside our apartment asking questions. They want to take pictures of her. She won't come out of her room. Mike's heart broke. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Martinez. This is all my fault. No. You helped our family so much. The medical bills, the basketball lessons, the kindness. But now everything's complicated. Rosa nodded. Destiny doesn't understand why strangers care so much about her playing basketball. She just wants things to go back to normal. Mike thought about his options. He could disappear from their lives, let the media attention die down. He could issue a statement asking for privacy. He could hire security to protect them, or he could do something more dramatic. Mrs. Martinez, he said, what if I told you I have an idea that might help? But it would mean more attention at first, before things get better. What kind of idea? Mike walked to his window and looked out at the Chicago skyline. Somewhere out there, Destiny was hiding in her room, afraid to face the world because of his fame. That wasn't acceptable. I want to hold a press conference, he said. A real one, with all the major media outlets. I want to tell Destiny's story properly so people understand what this is really about. Rosa looked uncertain. More reporters? Yes, but on our terms. I'll explain about your family's medical bills, about Destiny's talent and work ethic, about why community centers matter. I'll make it clear that anyone who bothers your family or says inappropriate things about our friendship will have to answer to me. You would do that? Mike turned back to face her. Mrs. Martinez, your daughter reminded me why I love basketball. She gave me something I thought I had lost. I owe her more than I can ever repay. Rosa wiped her eyes. What would Destiny have to do? Nothing unless she wants to. She can stay completely out of it, or she can show people how talented she is. Her choice. And the reporters will leave us alone after that. Some will, others won't. But at least people will know the truth instead of making up stories. Rosa thought about this. I have to talk to Destiny. Of course. Take all the time you need. As Rosa prepared to leave, she turned back one more time. Mr. Jordan, can I ask you something? Anything. Why does my daughter matter so much to you? You could help any child, any family. Why us? Mike considered the question carefully. Because she loves basketball the same way I did when I was 12 years old. Pure and simple and honest. In a world full of people who want things from me, your daughter just wanted to learn. That's rare. Rosa nodded, understanding. I'll talk to her. After she left, Mike sat down at his computer and started typing an email to every major sports reporter in Chicago. Subject: press conference tomorrow, the real story behind my community center visits. It was time to take control of the narrative. It was time to protect the people he cared about, even if it meant more attention and scrutiny for himself. Because some things were worth fighting for. And Destiny Martinez was definitely one of them. That evening, Rosa sat on the edge of Destiny's bed, watching her daughters stare at the ceiling. Destiny had been hiding in her room all day, refusing to look out the windows or answer her constantly buzzing phone. Mija, Rosa said gently, we need to talk. I don't want to talk. I just want everything to go back to normal. I know, but I think there might be a way to make things better. Destiny turned to look at her mum. How? Rosa took a deep breath. I went to see Mr. Jordan today. Destiny sat up quickly. You did? Is he okay? Are people bothering him too? Even in her own distress, Destiny was worried about her mentor. Rosa smiled at her daughter's caring heart. He's fine, but he's very worried about you. He has an idea that might help. What kind of idea? Rosa explained Mike's plan for a press conference. As she talked, she watched Destiny's face carefully, looking for signs of fear or interest. So he wants to tell everyone about our family? Destiny asked when Rosa finished. Only if you're comfortable with it. He said you don't have to be there if you don't want to. Destiny was quiet for a long time, thinking, what if people make fun of me? What if they say I'm not good enough to learn from Michael Jordan? Then they would be wrong, Rosa said firmly. You are an amazing basketball player, and more importantly, you're an amazing person. But I taught myself everything from phone videos. I never had a real coach before Mr. Jordan. And look how good you became on your own. That makes you even more special. Destiny got up and looked out her bedroom window. The street was still full of reporters and cameras, but fewer than that morning. Mum, do you think Mr. Jordan regrets teaching me basketball? Rosa was shocked by the question. Why would you think that? Because now his life is crazy too. Maybe he wishes he never met me. Rosa pulled her daughter close. Destiny, that man paid for your brother's heart surgery. He spent hours teaching you basketball when he could have been doing anything else. He came to our apartment today not to escape the reporters, but to make sure you were okay. Does that sound like someone who regrets knowing you? Destiny leaned against her mother's shoulder. I miss him. I miss our practices. Me too, me. Do you think if we do this press conference, we can go back to playing basketball together? Rosa thought carefully about her answer. I think it might be the only way to make that possible. Destiny nodded slowly. Okay, but I want to show people that I can really play. I don't want them to think Mr. Jordan is just being nice to some random kid. Are you sure? I'm sure. If we're going to do this, let's do it right. The next morning, Lincoln Community Center. Mike arrived at 8 a.m. to find the media circus had grown even larger. News vans from all over the Midwest filled the parking lot. Reporters from ESPN, CNN, and local Chicago stations clustered around the entrance. But something was different today. Instead of chaos, there was organization. Police barriers kept the crowd at a respectful distance. Security guards checked credentials. Mrs. Chen stood at the entrance with a clipboard, managing who could enter. Mike had hired a professional event coordinator overnight to make sure everything went smoothly. Mr. Jordan, Mrs. Chen said as he approached, everything is set up just like you requested. Thank you for letting us use the gym for this. This is Destiny's home court. If she's going to show the world what she can do, this is where it should happen. Inside the gym, folding chairs were arranged for about 50 people. Cameras were positioned around the basketball court. A small table with microphones sat at center court. Mike felt nervous in a way he hadn't experienced since his playing days. This wasn't about him performing, it was about protecting someone he cared about. At 9:30 a.m., the Martinez family arrived through the back entrance. Rosa looked elegant in her best dress. Carlos wore a button-down shirt and kept staring at all the cameras with wide eyes. And Destiny looked ready to play basketball. She wore her cleanest jeans, her best sneakers, and carried her worn basketball under her arm.
How are you feeling? Mike asked her.
Scared, she admitted, but also excited. I've never played basketball in front of this many people. Remember what I taught you about pressure? Destiny smiled. Use it to focus harder, not worry more. That's my girl. Mike addressed the media first, speaking from behind the table with microphones. Rosa sat to his left, Destiny to his right. Thank you all for coming, he began. I called this press conference because I want to tell you the real story of why I've been spending time at Lincoln Community Center. The room was completely silent. 3 weeks ago, I came here looking for a quiet place to remember why I fell in love with basketball. What I found was a 12-year-old girl who practices free throws every morning at 6 a.m., who taught herself perfect shooting form from videos on her phone, and who carries her family's worries with grace and strength. He gestured toward Destiny. This is Destiny Martinez. She's not just my student, she's my teacher. She reminded me that basketball is about joy, dedication, and community. A reporter raised her hand. Mr. Jordan, there have been questions about the appropriateness of your relationship with a minor. Mike's jaw tightened, but his voice remained calm. Anyone who questions the appropriateness of mentoring young people doesn't understand what community means. Destiny's mother has been present or aware of every interaction we've had. Miss Chen and her staff at this community center have observed our sessions. Everything has been completely transparent and proper. What about the Martinez family's medical bills? Did you pay them? Mike glanced at Rosa, who nodded for him to answer. The Martinez family qualified for assistance from a charitable foundation. I may have made some phone calls to help that process along. How much money was involved? Enough to ensure that an 8-year-old boy could get life-saving heart surgery without his family going into debt. The reporters scribbled notes and whispered to each other. Mr. Jordan, another reporter called out, what's next for your relationship with Destiny? Mike looked at the girl sitting beside him. That depends on what Destiny wants. All eyes turned to her. Destiny looked nervous but determined. I want to keep learning, she said, her voice quiet but clear. Mr. Jordan is the best teacher I've ever had. And he's my friend. What about all this attention? How do you feel about being in the spotlight? Destiny thought for a moment. I don't really understand why everyone cares so much. I just like playing basketball. But if people want to watch me play, I guess that's okay. Mike smiled. Which brings us to the real purpose of today's press conference. He stood up and gestured toward the basketball court. I've told you about Destiny's talent and dedication. Now I'd like you to see it for yourselves. The reporters looked confused as Mike and Destiny walked onto the court. Cameras followed their movement. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike announced, I present to you the future of basketball, Destiny Martinez. For the next 20 minutes, Destiny put on a shooting exhibition that left everyone speechless. Free throws, three-pointers, and the fadeaway shot Mike had taught her. She made shot after shot with perfect form and complete confidence. Mike rebounded for her and offered quiet encouragement, but mostly he just watched with pride as his student showed the world what she could do. The reporters stopped taking notes and just stared. Camera operators forgot they were working and became basketball fans. When Destiny finished with 10 straight free throws, the gym erupted in applause. Any questions about her talent? Mike asked the crowd. There were none. As the press conference ended and reporters filed out, Destiny bounced the basketball and looked around the gym that had been her refuge for 3 years. Mr. Jordan, she said, does this mean we can keep practicing together? If you want to, he replied. I do. But can we still do it here sometimes? Just the two of us? Mike looked around at Mrs. Chen, at Jamal, at the community center that had become so important to both of them. I wouldn't want to practice anywhere else. As they packed up their gear, Mike realized something important had happened today. They hadn't just held a press conference, they had reclaimed their story. Instead of hiding from the attention, they had used it to show people what really mattered. Community, mentorship, the pure love of the game, and a 12-year-old girl who could shoot basketballs like poetry in motion. 3 weeks later, life had found a new rhythm for the Martinez family. The media attention had mostly died down after Destiny's shooting exhibition went viral on social media. Instead of questioning Michael Jordan's motives, people were now calling Destiny the next basketball superstar and Jordan's protege. Destiny tried not to pay attention to the labels. She just wanted to play basketball. But today was different. Today, Carlos was scheduled for his 3-month follow-up surgery at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. It was supposed to be routine, just a minor procedure to check on his heart and make some small adjustments. Still, any surgery involving Carlos made the whole family nervous. It's going to be fine, Destiny told herself as she sat in the hospital waiting room at 6 a.m. The doctors said it would only take 2 hours. Rosa paced back and forth wearing her lucky bracelet, the one she'd worn during Carlos's first surgery. Mike had arrived 30 minutes early, carrying coffee for Rosa and hot chocolate for Destiny. Thank you for being here, Rosa said to Mike for the 3rd time that morning. There's nowhere else I'd rather be, he replied honestly. Dr. Sarah Kim appeared in the doorway, wearing her surgical scrubs and a confident smile. Martinez family, they all stood up at once. Carlos is ready to go back to the operating room. Would you like to say goodbye? They followed her down the hallway to the pre-surgery area. Carlos looked tiny in the hospital bed, but his eyes were bright and alert. Hey, big sister, he said to Destiny. Did you bring my good luck charm? Destiny pulled a small basketball keychain from her pocket, the one Mike had given her after the press conference. Right here, little brother. Good. Now I can't lose. Carlos hugged each of them, saving the biggest hug for Destiny. When I wake up, will you teach me that fadeaway shot Mr. Jordan showed you? Only if your heart is strong enough, Destiny said, fighting back tears. It will be. I can feel it getting stronger every day. As the nurses wheeled Carlos toward the operating room, he waved at them like he was going on an adventure instead of surgery. "Vaya con Dios, mijo," Rosa whispered. 2 hours later. The waiting was the hardest part. Rosa had called her sister in Mexico twice for prayer support. Destiny had tried reading a book, but she couldn't focus on the words. Mike sat quietly, occasionally checking his phone for work messages, but mostly just being present. "Mr. Jordan," Destiny said suddenly, "can I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "Were you ever really scared about something, like scared it might not work out?" Mike thought about all the championship games he'd played, all the pressure-filled moments of his career. But this question felt different. "Yes," he said. "When I first started playing professional basketball, I was terrified I wasn't good enough. Every night before a game, I wondered if people would figure out I was just pretending to be great." Destiny looked surprised. "Really? But you're Michael Jordan." "I became Michael Jordan by being scared and playing anyway. Fear doesn't go away just because you're successful. You learn to use it as fuel." "Is that what you're doing now? Using fear as fuel?" Mike looked at this wise 12-year-old who asked questions that made him think deeply about his life. "Right now, I'm learning from you about what real courage looks like. You're sitting here worried about your brother, but you're still thinking about teaching him basketball when he wakes up. That's the kind of strength I wish I'd had at your age." Before Destiny could respond, Dr. Kim appeared in the waiting room. She was still in her surgical clothes, but had removed her mask. Her expression was neutral, which made Rosa's heart race. "How did it go?" Rosa asked immediately. Dr. Kim smiled. "Perfect. Carlos's heart is functioning beautifully. The surgery was even simpler than we expected." Rosa burst into tears of relief. Destiny jumped up and hugged Mike, who was trying not to cry himself. "Can we see him?" Destiny asked. "He's in recovery now. He'll be sleepy for about an hour, but then you can visit." As Dr. Kim left, the three of them sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes. The relief was overwhelming. "You know what this means, right?" Destiny said eventually. "What?" Mike asked. "Carlos is going to want to start basketball lessons immediately. Are you ready to teach 2 Martinez kids instead of 1? Mike laughed. "Bring it on." An hour later, Carlos was awake and complaining that the hospital food wasn't as good as Rosa's cooking, which everyone took as a sign that he was feeling perfectly normal. "Did I miss anything exciting while I was asleep?" he asked. "Just me worrying about you for 3 hours," Destiny said, holding his hand. "That's not exciting. That's just what big sisters do." Mike sat in the chair next to Carlos's bed. "How are you feeling, champion?" "Strong, really strong. Like I could run a mile or climb a mountain." Carlos tried to sit up too quickly and winced. "Or maybe just walk to the bathroom." Everyone laughed. "Carlos," Rosa said, "the doctors want you to take it easy for a few more weeks. No running or climbing. What about basketball?" Rosa looked at Mike, who shrugged. "What did Dr. Kim say about light activity?" "She said gentle exercise is good for his recovery, but nothing too strenuous." Carlos's eyes lit up. "Is shooting free throws strenuous?" "Not if you do it right," Mike said. "Tell you what, when you get home, we'll set up a little basketball hoop in your backyard. You can practice your form while your heart finishes healing." "Really? You'll teach me?" "I'll teach you everything I taught your sister, but you have to promise to listen to your body. If you get tired or your chest hurts, you stop immediately." "I promise." Destiny watched this conversation with a mixture of joy and something else she couldn't quite identify. For 3 years, basketball had been her special thing, her escape, her way of dealing with all the stress and sadness in their family. Now Carlos wanted to learn too. Part of her was excited to share something she loved with her little brother. But another part of her worried that basketball wouldn't be just hers anymore. Mike seemed to sense her feelings. "Destiny, how would you feel about being Carlos's first coach? Or could teach you some drills that would be perfect for beginners?" Destiny's face lit up. Instead of losing her special connection to basketball, she would become the teacher. "You want me to coach him? Who better? You know what it's like to learn everything from scratch. You understand how hard it is to get better when nobody expects much from you. And I'm his sister, so I'll make sure he doesn't get a big head." Carlos protested from his hospital bed. "Hey, I don't have a big head yet," Destiny said, grinning. "But wait until you make your first free throw. Then you'll think you're Michael Jordan." "I am going to be the next Michael Jordan," Carlos declared confidently. Mike looked at these two incredible kids. One who had already shown remarkable talent and determination, the other who was just beginning his journey back to full health and discovering his own potential. "You know what?" Mike said. "I think there's room in this world for more than one basketball legend from the Martinez family." As they prepared to take Carlos home, Mike realized something important had happened in this hospital room. Their little family had grown bigger. Carlos's recovery wasn't just about his heart getting stronger, it was about all of them becoming stronger together. And for the first time since his own playing days, Mike was genuinely excited about what came next in basketball. Not because of championships or trophies, but because he got to watch two amazing kids discover their potential. Some victories, he thought, were worth more than rings. 2 months later, Carlos had made a remarkable recovery. His energy was back completely, and Dr. Kim had cleared him for all normal activities. The small basketball hoop Mike had installed in their backyard had become the center of the Martinez family's evening routine. Every day after school, Destiny would teach Carlos what she had learned from Mike. Free throws, proper shooting form, dribbling drills. Carlos was a quick learner, and his enthusiasm reminded Mike why he had fallen in love with basketball as a child. "Watch my feet, Carlos," Destiny instructed one afternoon. "Square to the basket. Bend your knees. Follow through." Carlos tried the shot and missed badly, but his form was getting better every day. "Don't worry about making it yet," Mike said from his lawn chair where he watched their practice sessions. "Focus on doing it right. The shots will start falling." "When did you make your first basket?" Carlos asked Mike. "I was about 6 years old, but I missed about 100 shots before I made one." 100? Carlos's eyes went wide. "Maybe more. The point is, I kept shooting." Rosa watched from the kitchen window, smiling as she prepared dinner. For the first time in over a year, her family felt complete and happy. That's when the knock came at the front door. Rosa wiped her hands on her apron and walked to the door, expecting to see a neighbor or maybe the mail carrier. Instead, she found herself face to face with a man she hadn't seen in 8 months. Frank Martinez, Destiny and Carlos's father. "Hello, Rosa," he said quietly. Rosa's hand tightened on the doorframe. Frank. He looked older than she remembered. His black hair had grey streaks now, and there were lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. He wore a clean button-down shirt and held a small duffel bag. I saw the news stories about Destiny and Michael Jordan," he said awkwardly. "I wanted to see how the kids are doing." Rosa felt a mixture of anger, hurt, and confusion. "Now you want to see them? I know I don't have the right to just show up, but I've been thinking about them every day." "You've been thinking about them?" Rosa's voice got louder. "Where were you when Carlos needed heart surgery? Where were you when we couldn't pay the medical bills? Where were you when Destiny cried herself to sleep asking why her daddy left?" Frank's face crumpled. "I was scared, Rosa. I handled everything wrong." "You didn't handle it at all. You ran away." In the backyard, Destiny heard raised voices and looked toward the house. Through the kitchen window, she could see her mother talking to someone at the front door, but she couldn't see who it was. "Mum sounds upset," Carlos said, pausing in his dribbling. Mike stood up from his chair. "Maybe I should go check." "Daddy?" The word came from Destiny, who had walked to the corner of the house and could now see the front porch. The basketball fell from her hands and rolled across the grass. Frank turned toward his daughter's voice. When he saw her, his eyes filled with tears. "Hi, baby girl," he said softly. Destiny stood frozen, staring at the father who had disappeared from her life when she needed him most. She had imagined this moment 100 times, what she would say, how she would feel, whether she would be angry or happy. Now that it was happening, she felt nothing but confusion. Carlos appeared beside her, having heard the commotion. When he saw Frank, he didn't recognize him immediately. Carlos had been so sick during the months before Frank left, and his memories from that time were fuzzy. "Who is that man?" Carlos whispered to Destiny. The question hit Frank like a punch to the chest. His own son didn't remember him. "That's our dad," Destiny said quietly. Carlos studied Frank's face, searching for familiar features. "Oh," he said with the simple acceptance that 8-year-olds have for complicated situations. Mike remained in the background, understanding that this was a family moment he shouldn't interfere with, but he stayed close enough to support Destiny if she needed it. "Can I talk to them?" Frank asked Rosa. Rosa looked at her children, trying to read their faces. Destiny looked scared and angry. Carlos looked curious but uncertain. "I don't think that's a good idea right now," Rosa said. "Please, just for a few minutes." "You left us," Destiny said, her voice shaking. "Carlos almost died and you weren't here." Frank took a step toward her. "I know. I made the biggest mistake of my life." "Then why did you do it?" Frank struggled to find words that a 12-year-old could understand. "When Carlos got sick, I felt helpless. I couldn't fix his heart. I couldn't pay for the doctors. I felt like I was failing all of you. So you decided to fail us even more by leaving." Destiny's anger was growing stronger. I thought maybe you'd be better off without me. I thought I was just making things worse." "We needed you," Destiny said, tears starting to flow. "I needed you. When I was scared about Carlos dying, when Mom was working all the time, when everything was falling apart, I needed my dad." Mike stepped forward slightly, not to interfere, but to let Destiny know he was there if she needed support. Frank noticed Mike for the first time. He recognized him immediately from all the news coverage. "Mr. Jordan," Frank said, extending his hand awkwardly. "I want to thank you for everything you've done for my family." Mike looked at the hand, but didn't shake it immediately. "Your family shouldn't have needed help from a stranger." The words were quiet but firm. Mike wasn't trying to be cruel, but he wasn't going to pretend that Frank's abandon was acceptable. Frank dropped his hand. "You're right. I should have been here." "Yes, you should have," Mike said. "But the question now is, what are you here for today?" Frank looked at his children, Destiny angry and hurt, Carlos still trying to understand who this stranger was. "I want to be their father again. I want to make up for the time I lost." "You can't make up for leaving us when we needed you most," Destiny said. "You can't just come back now that everything is good and pretend like nothing happened." Rosa watched her daughter's pain and felt her own anger rising. "Frank, I think you should go. The children have been through enough." "Wait," Carlos said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. "I want to ask him something." Frank knelt down to his son's eye level. "What do you want to know? Are you going to leave again?" The simple question from his 8-year-old son broke Frank's heart completely. "I don't want to," Frank said honestly. "I want to stay and be the father you deserve." "But what if things get hard again?" Carlos asked, with the wisdom of a child who had lived through serious illness. Frank had no easy answer. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I can promise I'll try every day to be better than I was before. Destiny listened to this conversation and felt conflicted emotions pulling her in different directions. Part of her wanted to hug her father and forgive him immediately. Part of her wanted to tell him to leave and never come back. And part of her just wanted to ask Mike what she should do. As if reading her thoughts, Mike approached quietly. "This is your decision, Destiny," he said gently. "Whatever you choose is okay." Destiny looked at her father, then at Mike, then at her little brother who was asking such hard questions with such innocence. She had learned so much about strength and forgiveness in the past few months. She had learned that sometimes the hardest thing to do was also the right thing to do. But she wasn't ready to make this decision today. "I need time to think," she said finally. Frank nodded, understanding. "How much time?" "I don't know. Maybe a lot." Rosa put her arm around Destiny protectively. "Frank, I think you should leave now. If the children decide they want to see you again, I'll call you." Frank reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of paper with his phone number written on it. "I'm staying at a motel on Roosevelt Road. I'll wait as long as it takes." As Frank walked back to his old pickup truck, Carlos called after him. "Hey, what's your favorite basketball team?" Frank turned back, surprised by the question. "The Chicago Bulls." "Why?" "Just wondering," Carlos said. Then he picked up his basketball and went back to practicing free throws. After Frank drove away, the backyard felt quiet and heavy. Destiny sat down on the grass and put her head in her hands. Mike sat down beside her. "That was a lot to handle. I don't know what to feel," Destiny said. "I'm angry at him, but I also missed him." "Does that make sense?" "Perfect sense," Mike said. "Families are complicated." "What would you do?" Mike thought carefully about his answer. "I can't tell you what to do with your father, but I can tell you what I've learned about forgiveness." "What?" "Forgiving someone isn't about them. It's about you. It's about not carrying anger forever." Destiny looked at him with those wise eyes that seemed too old for her 12-year-old face. "But what if I forgive him and he leaves again?" "That's the risk," Mike said honestly. "But what if you don't forgive him and you carry that anger for the rest of your life?" As the sun set over the Martinez backyard, Destiny sat in the grass, thinking about the hardest decision she had ever faced. Her father was back, but did she want him to stay? 1 week later, Destiny had been avoiding the decision for 7 days. Every morning, she woke up hoping the problem would somehow solve itself. Every evening, she went to bed with her father's phone number still sitting on her dresser. Rosa didn't push. She just watched her daughter carry this heavy burden and wished she could make the choice easier. "Nija," she said one morning over breakfast, "you don't have to decide anything right now, but he's waiting at that motel. What if he thinks I don't care? What you're feeling is more important than what he thinks." Carlos, who had been quietly eating his cereal, looked up. "Can I ask Dad to teach me basketball too?" The question surprised both Rosa and Destiny. Carlos had been curious about Frank all week, asking questions about what their father was like before he left. "Carlos," Rosa said gently, "your father hurt our family. It's not that simple, but people can change, right? That's what they say on TV." Out of the mouths of babes, Rosa thought. Her 8-year-old son saw possibilities that the adults couldn't. "Yes, people can change," Rosa said carefully, "but they have to prove it with actions, not just words." That afternoon, Destiny went to Lincoln Community Center for her usual practice with Mike. But her heart wasn't in it. Her shots kept missing, and she couldn't focus on his instructions. "Want to talk about it?" Mike asked after watching her miss 10 straight free throws. "I can't stop thinking about my dad." They sat on the bleachers, the basketball court quiet around them. "What's the hardest part?" Mike asked. "I'm angry at him for leaving, but I also remember the good times we had before Carlos got sick. He used to take me to the park and push me on the swings. He taught me how to ride a bike. Mike nodded. Those memories are real too. But so is the hurt from when he left. How do I know which feeling to trust? Mike thought about his own relationship with his father. James Jordan had been his biggest supporter, but they'd had their difficult moments too. Maybe you don't have to choose between those feelings, he said. Maybe you can hold both at the same time, the love and the hurt. That sounds confusing. Growing up is confusing, Mike said. Adults don't always make the right choices. Sometimes they let fear control them instead of love. Destiny bounced the basketball slowly while she thought, do you think people deserve second chances even when they really mess up? I think that depends on whether they've learned from their mistakes and are willing to do the hard work of earning trust back. How can I tell if he's really changed? Mike smiled. That's the right question to ask. What do you think you'd need to see from him? Destiny was quiet for a long time. I guess I'd need to see that he won't run away again when things get hard. And I'd need him to understand how much he hurt us. Those seem like reasonable expectations. But what if I give him a chance and he disappoints me again? Mike put his hand on her shoulder. Then you'll handle it the same way you've handled everything else, with strength and grace. But Destiny, you can't protect yourself from all disappointment. Sometimes taking a risk is the only way to find out if something good is possible. That evening, Rosa found Destiny in her room staring at Frank's phone number. I think I want to see him, Destiny said quietly. Are you sure? No, but I think I need to talk to him myself. To ask him the questions I've been thinking about all week. Rosa sat on the bed next to her daughter. What questions? Why he really left. Whether he understands how much it hurt. If he's going to stay this time even when things get hard. Those are good questions. Will you be there when I talk to him? If you want me to be. Destiny nodded. And can we meet somewhere neutral? Not here at home. Maybe at the community center. I think that's wise. The next afternoon, Frank Martinez sat nervously in the lobby of Lincoln Community Center. Mrs. Chen had agreed to let them use the community room for a private conversation. When Destiny walked in with Rosa and Mike, Frank stood up quickly. Thank you for agreeing to see me, he said. Destiny studied her father's face. He looked genuinely nervous and sad, not angry or defensive like she'd expected. I have some questions, she said, sitting down across from him. I'll answer anything you want to know. Why did you really leave? And don't say it was because you thought we'd be better without you. I want the real reason. Frank took a deep breath. I was scared. Destiny. When Carlos got sick and the doctors said he needed surgery, I felt completely helpless. I couldn't fix his heart. I couldn't pay the medical bills. I watched your mother work herself to exhaustion, and I felt like a failure as a husband and father. So you decided to become an even bigger failure by leaving. Frank winced at her words, but nodded. Yes. I was so afraid of disappointing you that I guaranteed I would disappoint you. Do you understand how much you hurt us? I'm starting to understand, but I don't think I'll ever fully grasp how much damage I did. Destiny looked at Mike, who gave her an encouraging nod. If I give you another chance, she said, how do I know you won't leave again the first time something gets difficult? You don't know, Frank said honestly. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I can promise that I've learned something important. What? That running away from problems doesn't make them go away. It just creates bigger problems.
Where were you all this time?
Frank's face reddened with shame. I was in Milwaukee, working construction, living in a tiny apartment, and thinking about you kids every single day. Why didn't you call? Because I was ashamed, and because the longer I stayed away, the harder it became to imagine coming back. Carlos, who had been listening quietly, suddenly spoke up. Dad, do you want to see me play basketball? Frank's eyes filled with tears. More than anything in the world, I'm pretty good. Destiny taught me everything Mr. Jordan taught her. Frank looked at Mike with genuine gratitude. I can never thank you enough for being there for my children when I wasn't. Mike's response was measured. Being thanked isn't what I need from you. Seeing you stay and be the father they deserve is what matters. The room was quiet for a moment. I want to try, Destiny said finally, but I have conditions. Frank leaned forward. Anything. First, you have to prove you're staying. Not with words, but with actions. I will. Second, you have to go to counseling or something to figure out why you run away from problems. Because I won't go through this again. Frank nodded seriously. I already started seeing someone. That's how I got the courage to come back. And third, Destiny's voice got stronger. You have to understand that Mike is important to our family now. He was there when you weren't. That doesn't change just because you're back. Frank looked at Mike, then back at his daughter. I understand, and I'm grateful he was there. Destiny stood up and walked to her father. She didn't hug him, but she extended her hand for a handshake. This is your second chance, she said. Don't waste it. Frank shook his daughter's hand, understanding that he had just been given the greatest gift of his life. I won't, he promised. I'll spend the rest of my life earning your trust back. As they prepared to leave the community center, Carlos tugged on Frank's sleeve. Dad, do you want to come watch me practice basketball tomorrow? Frank's voice was thick with emotion. I would love that more than anything. Walking to the parking lot, Destiny felt something she hadn't experienced in months, the possibility of hope mixed with caution. She had made her choice, but now the real work began for everyone. 6 months later, the envelope arrived on a Tuesday afternoon while Destiny was doing homework at the kitchen table. Rosa picked it up from the mail pile and saw the official logo of the Chicago Youth Basketball Association. Destiny, Rosa called, her voice filled with excitement. You have mail. Destiny looked up from her math problems. She had been expecting this letter for weeks, but now that it was here, she felt nervous. The letter was thick and official looking. At the top, in bold letters, it read, Congratulations. Destiny's hands shook as she read the words out loud. You have been selected to participate in the Chicago Youth Basketball Championship Tournament. This invitation is extended to the top 50 young players in the Chicago area, ages. Rosa screamed with joy. Carlos, who was practicing dribbling in the living room, came running to see what the excitement was about. I made it, Destiny said, still staring at the letter in disbelief. I actually made it to the championship tournament. Of course you made it, Carlos said matter-of-factly. You're the best basketball player in Chicago. I'm not the best. Yes, you are, Rosa interrupted, pulling her daughter into a huge hug. And now the whole world will get to see it. That evening, Frank came over for dinner, something that had become a weekly tradition as he slowly rebuilt his relationship with his children. True to his word, he had been consistently present for 6 months. He attended Carlos's doctor appointments, helped with homework, and never missed one of Destiny's practice sessions. The work wasn't easy. Some days, Destiny still felt angry about the time he had missed. Some days, Frank struggled with guilt about his past mistakes. But they were both trying, and that made all the difference. Dad, guess what? Carlos announced as soon as Frank walked through the door. What champion? Destiny made the championship tournament. She's going to play at the United Center. Frank's face lit up with pride. The United Center, where the Chicago Bulls play. Destiny nodded, still hardly believing it herself. The tournament is in 3 weeks. The championship game will be on the same court where Michael Jordan won his 6 titles. That's incredible, baby girl. I'm so proud of you. The words hit Destiny right in the heart. 6 months ago, she wouldn't have cared what Frank thought about her basketball achievements. Now, hearing his pride meant more than she expected. Will you come watch me play? She asked. I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. 2 weeks later, Lincoln Community Center. Mike arrived for practice to find the gym buzzing with activity. Word had spread throughout the community that Destiny had made the championship tournament, and suddenly everyone wanted to support her. Mrs. Chen had organized a fundraising drive to help with tournament expenses. Jamal had created a banner that read, "Destiny's Destiny Championship Bound." The senior citizens who played cards on Tuesday evenings had started coming to watch her practice sessions. "This is a lot of pressure," Destiny confided to Mike as they warmed up. "Good pressure or bad pressure?" he asked. "Both. I'm excited that people believe in me, but what if I disappoint them?" Mike smiled. "Do you remember what I taught you about pressure when we first started practicing together? Don't fight it. Use it to focus harder, not worry more." Exactly. All these people aren't here because they expect you to be perfect. They're here because they care about you. Destiny looked around the gym at the familiar faces. Mrs. Chen taking photos for the community center newsletter. Jamal adjusting the banner he'd hung on the wall. Even Mr. Rodriguez, who had once tried to kick Mike out, was now bragging to anyone who would listen about our championship player. "You know what I realized?" Destiny said to Mike. "What's that?" "When I first started playing basketball, it was just about me. It was my escape, my way of dealing with everything that was wrong in my life. And now it's about all of us. This whole community, my family, you." She paused. "Even my dad." Mike felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with watching someone he cared about grow into the person she was meant to be. "That's what champions are made of," he said. "People who understand that individual success means nothing if you don't lift others up with you." As practice continued, Frank arrived to pick up Destiny. He had been coming to every practice session, sitting quietly in the bleachers and learning about the game he had never understood before. "How's she looking?" Frank asked Mike. "Ready," Mike replied. "Her skills are tournament level, but more importantly, her mindset is right. I can't believe she's playing at the United Center. When I was a kid, I dreamed of just watching a game there." "She's not just playing there," Mike said. "She's going to compete with the best young players in Chicago." Frank watched his daughter practice her free throws with the same perfect form she'd been developing for 3 years. "I missed so much of this." "Yes, you did," Mike said honestly. "But you're here now. That matters. Do you think she forgives me?" Mike looked at this man, who was trying so hard to rebuild what he had broken. "I think forgiveness is a process, not a moment. But I can see that she wants to forgive you. The rest is up to you to keep earning it." After practice, the entire Martinez family plus Mike had gathered in the community center lobby to look at the tournament bracket that Mrs. Chen had printed out. "You're in the North Division," Mrs. Chen explained, pointing to Destiny's name on the chart. "If you win your first 3 games, you make it to the championship game on Sunday afternoon." "What time is the championship game?" Carlos asked. 2 o'clock, and it will be on local television." Rosa gasped. "Television? The Chicago Youth Basketball Championship is a big deal," Mike explained. "College scouts watch these games. Some of the players who compete in this tournament get full scholarships to play in high school and college." Destiny stared at the tournament bracket, trying to imagine herself playing on the same court where her mentor had become a legend. "Mr. Jordan," she said quietly, "will you be there?" "Destiny, I wouldn't miss this tournament for anything in the world. I've been looking forward to watching you compete at this level since the day we met." "What if I get nervous?" "Then you'll remember everything you've learned about using pressure to make yourself better. And you'll remember that everyone in that arena is cheering for you to succeed." As they prepared to leave the community center, Destiny looked around at all the people who had become her extended family. Mrs. Chen, who had always believed in her. Jamal, who had protected Mike's secret and become a friend. Her mother, who had worked 3 jobs to keep their family together. Carlos, who looked at her, like she was already a champion. Frank, who was trying every day to earn his place back in their lives. And Mike, who had seen something special in a lonely 12-year-old girl shooting baskets at dawn and decided to change both their lives. "You know what?" Destiny said to the group. "Win or lose, this tournament is going to be amazing. You're going to win," Carlos declared with absolute confidence. "How can you be so sure?" Destiny asked her little brother. Carlos grinned. "Because you're Destiny Martinez, and you've got the best team in the world supporting you." Looking around at all the faces she loved, Destiny realized Carlos was absolutely right. She had the best team in the world. Tournament day, United Center, Chicago. The morning of the championship game, Destiny woke up at 5 a.m. without an alarm clock. She had dreamed about this moment for weeks, and her body was ready even if her mind was still catching up. She looked out her bedroom window and saw something that made her smile. Frank's pickup truck was already parked outside their apartment building. He had promised to drive the family to the United Center, and he was there 2 hours early just to make sure. "Morning, Dad," she said when she climbed into the truck. "Morning, champion. You ready for this?" Destiny buckled her seatbelt and looked at the gym bag containing her uniform, her lucky basketball, and the worn-out sneakers that had carried her through 3 years of early morning practices. "I think so. Are you nervous?" Frank laughed. "I'm more nervous than you are. But it's a good nervous. The kind you get when someone you love is about to do something amazing." United Center. The arena was massive. Destiny had seen it on television during Bulls games, but standing on the court where Michael Jordan had won 6 championships made her feel small and huge at the same time. "This is where it all happened," she whispered to herself, dribbling her basketball on the famous parquet floor. The stands were filling up with families, friends, and basketball fans. Destiny could see the Lincoln Community Center section easily. They had made a banner that read "Lincoln Lions Support Destiny" and were wearing matching t-shirts that Jamal had designed. In the VIP section, she spotted Mike sitting with Rosa, Frank, and Carlos. Mike gave her a thumbs up and mouthed, "Remember everything we practiced." The tournament had been incredible. Destiny's team, the Northside Storm, had won their first 3 games convincingly. Destiny had scored 18 points in the semi-finals, including the game-winning shot with 12 seconds left. Now they faced the Southside Lightning in the championship game. The Lightning had won the tournament 2 years in a row, and their best player, a girl named Maya Washington, had already committed to play high school basketball at a prestigious prep academy. "Martinez," Coach Johnson called out during warm-ups. "You ready for this?" Coach Johnson was a volunteer from the local YMCA. She had been coaching youth basketball for 15 years, but she had never had a player quite like Destiny. "I'm ready, Coach." "Good. Remember, this isn't about proving you're better than anyone else. It's about playing your game and trusting your teammates." As the game began, Destiny could feel the energy from the crowd, but she also felt something else: calmness. All those months of practicing under pressure with Mike had prepared her for this moment. The first quarter was tough. Maya Washington was everything the scouts had said: tall, fast, and skilled. She scored 8 points in the first 10 minutes, and the Lightning took an early 12. "Stay focused," Destiny told her teammates during the timeout. "We've been here before. Trust each other and keep playing our game." In the second quarter, Destiny started to find her rhythm. She hit 2 3-pointers and made several passes that led to easy baskets for her teammates. By halftime, the Northside Storm had fought back to tie the game. "You're playing beautifully," Mike told her during halftime when families were allowed to visit the locker room briefly. "Keep being yourself out there. I can feel you watching," Destiny said. "All of you. It makes me want to play harder." "That's what family does," Frank said, still getting used to being included in these important moments. "We make each other stronger." The third quarter belonged to Maya Washington. She seemed to make every shot she took, and the Lightning built a 10-point lead. Some of Destiny's teammates started to look discouraged. "Hey," Destiny said during a timeout with 2 minutes left in the quarter, "remember where we come from. We're not supposed to be here according to anyone else, but we are here, and we belong." Her words seemed to spark something in the team. They finished the third quarter on a 6-0 run, cutting the Lightning's lead to the fourth quarter was a battle. Every possession mattered. Every shot felt important. The crowd was on its feet for the final 10 minutes. With 3 minutes left, Destiny's team trailed by 5 points. That's when she remembered something Mike had taught her about championship moments. "Champions aren't made when things are easy," she said to herself. "They're made when everything's on the line." Destiny hit a 3-pointer to cut the lead to 2. Then she stole the ball and made a layup to tie the game. The United Center crowd was going crazy. With 30 seconds left, the score was tied 52-52. 52 Maya Washington had the ball for the Lightning, driving toward the basket for what could be the winning shot. But Destiny stepped in front of her and drew a charge foul. The referee's whistle echoed through the arena. North side storm ball. 18 seconds left. During the timeout, Coach Johnson drew up a play for their point guard to take the final shot. But as they huddled, Destiny made a suggestion. "Let me take it," she said quietly. "Not because I'm selfish, but because I'm ready." Coach Johnson looked at her star player. This 12-year-old girl who had been practicing at Lincoln Community Center since she was 9, who had taught herself perfect shooting form from phone videos, who had been mentored by the greatest basketball player of all time. "It's yours, Destiny. Make it count." The ball was inbounded to Destiny with 10 seconds on the clock. Maya Washington guarded her closely, trying to force her away from the basket. Destiny dribbled at the 3-point line, watching the clock count down. 5. She thought about Mike's fadeaway lesson. Sometimes you have to step back to move forward. Destiny stepped back, creating space between herself and her defender. Maya lunged forward, trying to contest the shot. With 1 second left on the clock, Destiny released the ball. The shot arced high through the air, over Maya's outstretched hand, toward the basket that had seen so many championship moments. Time seemed to stop, as 15,000 people held their breath. The ball swished through the net as the buzzer sounded. Northside Storm wins 55-52. Destiny had hit the championship-winning shot. But that wasn't the shocking part that no one expected. As Destiny's teammates mobbed her at center court, she looked up into the stands and saw something that made her heart stop. There, standing in the crowd and applauding, were dozens of people wearing t-shirts that read Destiny Martinez Foundation. Mike stepped onto the court with a microphone, and the crowd quieted down. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "I have an announcement that's been 6 months in the making." Destiny looked at him in confusion. "This wasn't part of the plan. This young woman taught me something that all my championships couldn't teach me." Mike continued, "She taught me that greatness isn't measured in trophies or fame. It's measured in how we lift others up." He gestured toward the stands. "That's why I'm proud to announce the establishment of the Destiny Martinez Foundation, a permanent fund to help families facing medical crises while supporting youth basketball programs across Chicago." The crowd erupted in cheers. Destiny stood frozen, trying to process what she was hearing. But Mike wasn't finished with his surprises. "There's one more thing," he said, looking directly at Frank Martinez in the stands. "Destiny's father, Frank, has agreed to become the Foundation's first community outreach coordinator." Frank's mouth fell open in shock. This was news to him too. Mike walked over to Destiny and put his hand on her shoulder. "Your father asked me what he could do to prove he's changed. I told him the best way to honor what his family has been through is to help other families avoid the same struggles. Destiny looked at Frank, who had tears streaming down his face. Dad, Frank climbed down from the stands and walked onto the court. "If you'll have me," he said to his daughter, "I want to spend the rest of my life making sure other kids get the help they need." The United Center crowd was on its feet, cheering for this family that had found their way back to each other through basketball and love. Mrs. Chen appeared on the court, crying happy tears. "Destiny, you know what the most amazing part of this whole story is?" "What, Mrs. Chen?" "You walked into our community center 3 years ago just wanting to shoot baskets by yourself. Instead, you brought all of us together." Destiny looked around at all the faces she loved. Rosa beaming with pride, Carlos jumping up and down with excitement, Frank ready to start a new chapter of helping others, Mike, the man who had seen something special in a lonely girl and changed both their lives. Jamal ran onto the court carrying the banner from Lincoln Community Center. "We need a picture," he shouted. As photographers captured the moment, Destiny realized that she had won something much bigger than a basketball tournament. She had won back her family. She had found her community. And she had learned that sometimes, when you chase your dreams hard enough, they chase you back. "Same time tomorrow for practice, coach?" she asked Mike as the celebration continued around them. Mike laughed, pulling her into a hug. "Wouldn't miss it, Destiny. Wouldn't miss it for the world." As confetti fell from the United Center ceiling and the crowd chanted her name, Destiny Martinez, the girl who used to practice alone at dawn because she had no one else, realized that she was surrounded by more love than she had ever imagined possible. She had started with just a basketball and a dream. She had ended up with a championship, a foundation, and a family that would never leave her again. Some stories, she thought as she held the championship trophy, have the most perfect endings of all. What an incredible journey we've been on with Destiny and her family. From a lonely girl practicing basketball at dawn to a champion surrounded by love, this story shows us that sometimes the greatest victories happen off the court. I'd love to know where you're listening from around the world. Drop a comment below and tell me your city or country. If this story touched your heart like it touched mine, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We're here to spread kindness and share stories that remind us what really matters in life. And speaking of amazing stories, there's another incredible video appearing on your screen right now that I think you're going to love. Click on it to continue this journey of inspiration with me. Until next time, remember, sometimes the best help comes from the most unexpected places, and real champions are made by lifting others up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.